Bowl champ. Be sure to follow our new podcast wherever you can. We're going to talk MMA. We're going to talk sports, life. We're just going to have a great time. It's going to be a ton of fun.
It's going to be fun, RC.
DC and RC is ready to roll.
Guys, that's DC and RC. You need to follow wherever you listen to all your...
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. How are all of you? I'm excited for today's show. So much to dive into, and I want to open up with this. And again, it's Bengals, but just relax. Simone Biles, Joe Burrow. There's a comparison here I want to get into, and it's interesting. Simone Biles, of course, what's the twisties, right? That's what it's called. The twisties, when we talked about her struggles in the Olympics and her, stepping out of the picture for the Olympics because of the twisties, when your mind wants to do something that your body just won't let you do. And everyone out there said, well, she has to play. She has to go out there. She has to perform. She's a quitter if she can't overcome that mental lapse, right? She has to be mentally strong. She has to be mentally tough. She can't let the chance of her breaking her neck and being paralyzed the rest of her life keep her from being able to go out there and flip all over the place, right? I don't know much. I don't want to disrespect gymnastics. I don't know all the proper terms. So if I am making light of it, I don't mean to. I just don't really know. I mean, so flipping all over the place, to me, that's gymnastics. I don't know all the proper terms, to be honest. Now, I was a little hard on this last week about, how the perception of it. It came across as, for us who don't understand gymnastics, all we hear is that she's not mentally into it and she wants out of the picture. She'll step away, and that's how it goes. Now, I bring that up because that's what the popular assumption was, right? There was a lot of people in her corner, Kev, who said, hey, we're with you. You got to put you first. You got to put your health and safety first and everything like that. But a vast majority of you called her a quitter, right? Like she quit. Now, I didn't call her a quitter, but I can see where people can take that narrative and run with it in regards to a lot of the quotes where I don't have my A game and I don't want to bring my team's score down, so I'm just going to sit out. For those, including me, who was not aware of the term twisties at all last week, I was like, well, that sounds like you're quitting. That's like saying if Giannis Antetokounmpo, hey, I'm not a good free throw shooter, guys. Don't even play me in the fourth quarter. I'm going to sit this one out. I don't want to hurt you. We'd call him a quitter. If LeBron James in Game 7 of an NBA Finals, if it said, hey, guys, I'm having a mental off day today. I'm going to put my mental health above Game 7 of the NBA Finals, we'd call him a quitter, right? That's where we were at with that Simone Biles situation. But really what it came down to is yes, mental health was a part of it, but the twisties were, you're vulnerable. When she's that high up in the air, she can come down and paralyze herself if her mind is trying to do something that her body will not allow her to do. That is very dangerous. So I need to know, because I noticed a lot of hypocrisy on social media today when it comes to Joe Burrow. Now, this isn't Joe Burrow quitting, and I'm not saying that, and there's really no parallel between that and Simone Biles. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is the hypocrisy amongst fans, because I noticed a lot of the same people that were very outspoken about Simone Biles being a quitter because mentally she couldn't do, her body would not let her do what mentally she wanted to do, right? There was no compassion for her for that, right? Like that's just the reality of what the situation was. So a lot of talk about Joe Burrow's struggles here in the early going of training camp and what could it be? And of course, I'm getting a lot of the Justin, you're an idiot. He had his entire knee basically reconstructed. There's so many injuries. I mean, it's a miracle he's even walking and coming out onto the field. And I can agree with all of that. My big question mark that I threw out yesterday is why risk it? If he's not 100% ready to go, why throw him out there? Well, because he's been physically cleared by doctors that he is able to go out there and perform, but he can't help it if mentally he doesn't trust his knee. So let me ask you guys this. What is the difference between Joe Burrow and Simone Biles? Why is it okay for Joe Burrow to not perform and to sit out because mentally he doesn't trust his body? Isn't this the same thing? Isn't this the same thing, folks? I think it is. Kev, what do you think? It's the same thing. Simone Biles said, hey, mentally, I don't feel right. I don't trust my body doing what my mind wants it to, and I don't want to paralyze myself, and it's stressing me out and everything like that. So she opts out of performing for the remainder of the Olympics until she did the beams or whatever, the other day. But that's not the point. The point is that people called her a quitter. Mm-hmm. They don't know. You got to perform. You can't sit there and say, oh, I can't mentally do it. There's no way. But a lot of those same people are the same people today saying, Justin, you're being way too hard on Joey Burrow because he's mentally worried about his knee. What's the difference? It's the same thing. Now, I don't think I've had an aggressive take on Joe Burrow whatsoever as far as his approach to the game. I actually said yesterday, I think that the Bengals are in the wrong for even allowing him to play. I would let him ease into this. I would not even have expectations of him starting any games in the preseason or week 1. But hypocrites, I need your help on this. Explain to me why it's okay for Joe Burrow to not perform well because he's mentally worried about his knee. It's the same exact thing that happened with Simone Biles. So hypocrites, I need your help on this. Explain to me what's the difference. When you're defending your quarterback, when you're defending your team, it's all of a sudden okay to allow players to mentally be concerned about themselves, right? But when you're not a gymnastics fan and you're not a Simone Biles fan and all of a sudden you hear the storyline of this athlete who decides that she wants to take a mental off day and you label her a quitter right away. What is the difference? Kev, what is the difference there? I don't believe that there is one.
There really isn't a big difference. The difference that I see in this is, or from the point of view that I see it, is that Joe Burrow has time to get over that. He has the preseason, he has practice and everything like that to get over the fear and, feel confident on the leg, like that the doctors did everything right and everything is repaired and everything like that. Where the case with Simone Biles, this happened and she never got over it. Like, according to her and, reports, like she had been dealing with this since April, like training for the qualifying. Mm-hmm. And everybody was saying, oh man, obviously she qualified for the Olympics, but like, man, her scores are down. Like, normally these are in the 16s, these are in the 15s. That's not like her. So like, even back then, she was dealing with it and just trying to push through. And eventually it met its breaking point at the Olympics and everything like that. And that's the biggest difference between her and Joe Burrow. Will he be able to get over it by week 1? That we don't know. We don't know. And the another question I do want to float out there to everybody that's answering this: will we ever get to a point in sports where we view a mental health situation the same way as we view a broken foot or a dislocated shoulder? Because when you see an injury, you see somebody in a sling, like, oh man, it's a wrap. I get it, man. Your arm's in a sling. But since you can't see somebody having mental issues going on, people neglect it and people just say, get over it, toughen up, man up, mm-hmm. and things of that nature. So I don't think we'll ever get to a point in sports where we say that's having mental blocks or mental health issues is quote unquote okay by the masses, but it's definitely real, man. It's definitely real. And you talk about people that are bashing her, but supporting Joe Burrow, they need to check themselves, man. Like, it's a real situation that both athletes are dealing with. And, if Joe Burrow doesn't feel comfortable going out there week 1, then he shouldn't go out there. Like, you can't go out there and play football halfway. That's how you end up getting hurt, and not even getting hurt because you have a bad offensive line. You end up being hurt because you're playing timid and thinking about the game. Football is a reactionary sport. You do these reps so many times that everything becomes instinct and you know what you should do when you're supposed to do it. If you're back there thinking, holding on to the ball, and you're going to get clobbered, and then you get hurt again, and then, the low-hanging fruit would be like, oh, man, it's a terrible offensive line. Well, maybe you should have got rid of the ball faster. Maybe you should have climbed the pocket. But maybe he didn't do those things because he didn't trust his knee.
With that being said, with all of that, and again, people, I knew it was going to irritate some people, and I'm not. So Brian McCoy says, trying to compare the first week of training camp after major knee surgery to a fully healthy gymnast is a bit of a stretch. With all due respect, I don't think it's a stretch at all, because I'm not comparing football to gymnastics. What I'm comparing is how we accept an excuse from one athlete and not the other, because the two sports are completely different, and the timing of Joe Burrow and Simone Biles, look, there's no crossover as far as comparisons of the sports. What I'm saying is the reasons. I mean, you could throw out the sports, you could throw out the experience of the two. I don't care about any of that. None of that has anything to do with anything. I'm just using a recent storyline of Simone Biles, who basically said, who has all the talent in the world. Actually, there is some comparisons. Simone Biles, Joe Burrow, extremely talented at what they do. No one will ever doubt that, right? Both of those athletes are at the top of their game. Both of those athletes, we know, when physically right and mentally right, they're two of the best at what they do. No doubt about it. I'll never say otherwise. However, we saw last week or the week before with the Simone Biles saga that even though we've already seen her win gold, we've seen her perform at a high level in the Olympics, we've seen her succeed, she is now labeled a quitter by the vast majority of those who were not willing to accept the reasonings for why she didn't do it. I at first had a very aggressive take on it, saying, okay, you can't just say, I'm mentally not feeling it today, I'm not going to perform. My take on that did change a little bit when I understood the reasons of, okay, well, when you're up in the air, think about that, by the way, when you're in the air. I get nervous when I'm on a trampoline trying to do a backflip. I get real tense, and I'm like, oh my gosh. No, I can't. Oh. That's why I get so dang nervous. But the point is this is a woman that has to leap in the air and do a ton of flips and land on a beam and not, just totally fall to travesty, right? Like, she can paralyze herself. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, if Simone Biles would have approached it with, look, when I'm not mentally right, when I have the twisties or whatever, that should have been where it stopped. I think the message got lost, Kev, is they tried to use that as a talking point for mental health, when I really wish they would have not stayed away from that. I'm not saying the stick to sports angle, but I think more people could have learned about the sport more and been able to relate more if when I heard that explanation, it did change how I viewed it a tad. Where I started to get annoyed is that, oh, she's a hero because she's speaking out on mental health. Relax on that. I think that mental health is a part of this to a certain extent, but the very easy explanation was, I'm not feeling it. I'm not able to do what I normally do when I'm flipping around in the air, and I don't feel comfortable coming down safely to where, so no, I can't do that. I understood that completely. Well, nobody else did. Everyone's like, no, she's a quitter. She's mentally weak. She's a quitter. You can't count on her. It's ridiculous. Her resume speaks for itself. That's where the comparisons, they split up. Gymnastics has nothing to do with week one of training camp. If you're thinking I'm stretching, I think you're stretching. But I think people try. If you think I'm stretching this, I think you're stretching the comprehension of what I'm trying to say in regards to trying not to understand what I'm trying to say. My point is that when you look at Joe Burrow is super talented, just like Simone Biles. Joe Burrow knows how to throw a football. Joe Burrow did it last year. Joe Burrow, with the bad offensive line, stepped in the pocket confidently, knowing he's about to get hit, was able to make throws, was able to throw for a ton of yards. Remember, Bengals fans reminded me that every week. 300 plus yards a game, right? Threw touchdowns, moved the ball up and down the field, has a bad offensive line. It doesn't have a premier wide receiver, doesn't have anyone to stretch the field. Imagine what he could do with the receiver to stretch the field. All of that. So we know what he's capable of. That injury happens. It's very unfortunate, yes. So now all of a sudden training camp starts. Joe Burrow is having a lot of issues connecting passes, and he's not accurate. He's not confident. And that's what all the sports shows have been talking about today is, Joe Burrow, he's not mentally there. Something is off. And we all know what that is. It's his knee. So my point is this. Now you ask, Kev, when are we going to get to the point where we look at an injured knee and an injured foot the way we do mental health? I think it's easier to look at an injured foot and knee because doctors come out and say, it's a mild sprain, or it's this or it's that, to where we're not at the point yet where we could say, it's a mild mental health day. It's a severe mental health day. Right? I'm not making a joke of it. That's just where it's at. I think that people's comprehension or lack thereof of when it comes to mental health, it's just, stop being a baby. Oh, suck it up, buttercup. Come on, you can do it. That's where we're at. And until we learn more about it, we're always going to be that way. That's just how the majority of the perception is going to be. But Joe Burrow gets the pass because he doesn't trust his body to step in the pocket to deliver a pass. So last thing on this is why I asked yesterday, what % healthy do you have to be to get cleared by a team doctor? I want to know that answer. What % healthy do you have to be cleared by a team doctor? And if you are cleared by a team doctor and they say he is good to go, then if you are playing, then I will judge you on how you're performing. I don't want to hear, oh, stop, he doesn't trust his knee. Then get him out of there. Kev, you're right. It takes time. She had back in April to prepare for this and stuff, and it just never really clicked. Joe Burrow has from now until week 1. But the bottom line is if he doesn't get it this year, I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but I will judge him for his performance on the field, just like we judge Simone Biles for her performance or lack thereof on the beam or during the Olympics. It's really, I try to keep it as strictly sports as much as possible, but the reality is when people say things like stick to sports, there's an overlap of real life situations all the time. There's no such thing as sticking just to sports. And that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to things like that. But that's what's interesting. I don't think Joe Burrow's mentally weak because he can't step in the pocket and trust. I'd be terrified too, because every time he's stepping forward, now he's worried about if I get hit, my career's done. Because that's what they're thinking, But then you asked earlier, I think what hurts is that you have Kobe Bryant who tears his ACL and goes to the free throw line, makes a free throw, and walks off the court. Doesn't need his assistant. Oh, that's a man right there. That's yeah, pump your chest. Oh yeah. Michael Jordan has a hangover. The flu. I think it was deemed COVID, right? Did the doctors go back and deem that COVID? I'm not sure how that works, but Michael was a man because Michael had the flu and Michael fought through it, baby. But LeBron James, that little wuss, you barely touch him and he's flopping and he's crying and blah, 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 blah. Look, we move the goalposts all the time with when it comes to physical and mental toughness. I heard a great line last week. Mental toughness or, mental health is very, very important. But when it comes to sports, so is mental toughness. Now, trying to figure out what the line of mental toughness is, as far as where you need to be judged properly, that's always going to be up for debate. That's always going to be the part of the conversation. But look, those comparisons, I started thinking about that today. I'm like, how is that any different? I know Simone Biles, what she's capable of, but her, she didn't trust her body. And because of that, she wasn't able to do what she's capable of doing. I'm actually defending Joe Burrow here, folks. I don't know if that's come across clear or not. I hope it has. My point is yes, I'm being critical of Joe Burrow's inability to be able to connect on simple, easy passes. And yes, I know it's only week 1 of training camp, but the reason I was asking is anybody concerned? Everyone's making fun of me like, well, here he goes, stirring the pot, week 1 of training camp. When I ask about being concerned, I think it is safe to be concerned about a quarterback coming off of that type of injury and all of a sudden not looking as sharp as he did last year. I think those are valid concerns to have. And I think it's a real conversation that Bengals fans have to have. And I think that you guys are having it. But because it's me, I'm the devil. And let's just get mad at Kinner as far as that goes. But no, Burrow doesn't trust his leg. He doesn't trust those around him. He's, so maybe the mechanics aren't there right now because mentally he's trying to get used to playing. Carson Palmer, in an article I read the other day, said that it almost took 16 months, 18 months before he truly would step forward and not even think about or feel weird with his knee being what that's a long time. I don't know. That's what 2005, 2006, I think. More than 15 years ago. We've come a long way since then. God dang, dude, it's 7 months. Like the fact that Burrow's even out there. That's what I
cool.
talked
about the other
that's
day.
really cool. But
people don't view like those injuries as trauma. Like think about it like this: if you are in a car accident, like a real bad car accident where you hospitalized, you broke bones and everything like that, like you're going to be traumatized when you drive in a car next time. Like if somebody's driving too fast on the highway, you might have flashbacks to that horrific car accident you were in. And to expect athletes or people in general not to have those same feelings is crazy. That is crazy to me. Like, I don't understand how people can't understand the fact that, like, all right, man, if he's in the pocket flinching because, hey, man, 7 months ago, his knee just got tore to shreds. Like, that's a natural thing. That's a natural thing. Like what Kobe Bryant did, tearing his Achilles tendon and going out there to shoot the free throws. What Klay Thompson did, tore up his knee in the NBA Finals, walking out there to shoot free throws. That's not natural. That's not a natural thing to do. Like, most people can't do that. That's why those people that are able to do those things are 1%ers. You know what I'm saying?
But it's things like that make that Simone Biles storyline last week. So, they said she's one of the best athletes of all time. Oh, yeah? Well, Kobe Bryant can walk on his own accord with the torn Achilles. I don't see it. And she has the yips. That's what people say. I'm not, by the way, if people are tuning in out of context, I hope people aren't thinking I'm mocking this. I'm actually pointing out a lot of comparisons here. Like, we're learning how we perceive mental health in sports. Like, we've actually been talking mental health for years and haven't even been realizing it.
Right.
And the Carson Palmer thing is a real example. Same thing with Tom Brady. Mental health isn't always, I'm depressed today, I'm not going to perform well. Mental health, I mean, there's a lot of things that if you're not mentally trusting your body, you can't perform at a high level. And by the way, that comes in late game situations. Oh man, the moment, we say that all the time. When we've been saying, the moment seems too big for a closer in baseball, for a free throw shooter in basketball, or just scores in general. Look at in the final. And by the way, we have mental health stats in sports. We just don't realize it. Here's LeBron's numbers in the final 5 minutes of finals play versus Michael Jordan's stats in the final 5 minutes of finals play. Why do we do that? Because we take the face of the NBA history of Michael Jordan and how dominant he was in crunch time, the most high-pressure situations, and then we look at LeBron in the final 5 minutes of crunch time, and we say that the final 5 minutes because that's when the game's on the line. Mm-hmm. Every play, every mistake is magnified. Every play you make is bigger. If that block by James, that happens in the first quarter, it's not a monumental play. It happened in the fourth quarter. That's mental health things we're talking about that we don't even realize we're talking about, because what we're saying is if you are mentally strong enough to play this game, you will perform well in those crunch time moments. And if you do not perform well in those crunch time moments of games, if you can't get a base hit in the ninth inning with your team down a run or with a runner in scoring position to win a game, you are mentally weak. That's what we have been calling people mentally weak and rewarding it for greatness. We just didn't look at it like that, but that's basically what we're doing.
I think it's a fine line where, quote unquote, someone's mentally weak and they miss a shot. Like, people miss shots all the time. So
we're saying that. We just don't realize we're saying it.
No, I'm saying I don't think that you could, if you miss a shot in the closing 5 minutes or the end of the game, oh man, you're mentally weak. Like, you missed a shot. Like, he could have been missing shots all game. So now you miss a shot in the clutch. He's mentally weak. I think it's more along the lines of a situation or like Ben Simmons. I think that's a better analogy or a situation where someone is scared to do something, scared and having a block of doing something. Like, he can't bring himself to even shoot the ball, even at the rim. Like, that's like, I view that as a mental hurdle that someone has to get over. Or someone like Giannis, like, where, okay, I'm a horrible free throw shooter, but in that closeout game, I mentally got over the hurdle and nailed the free throws and things of that nature. I don't necessarily think that, like, all right, we can say, all right, man, LeBron, you missed the game winner in game one. You're mentally weak. All right, game two, you made the game winner. You're mentally strong. Like, I don't think you could just keep bouncing around just based off an instant. I think it has to be a wider view, a wider scope of how a person is actually playing. And I mean, we see this, like, I don't know, Jay Williams way back in his Duke career when they were playing Indiana. I want to say that was in the Elite Eight. And like, I remember this because I was in Atlanta at the time watching the game. And the announcer was like, man, Jay Will don't look like he want the ball. Doesn't look like he want the ball. Look at his eyes. Like, and Jay Will has said on the morning show that, like, he was terrified to shoot those free throws. So I think it's like those type of instances. I don't think it could be just single out. Like, all right, you shoot a shot, you miss it, you're mentally weak, get him out of here. Like, I think that's where people, like, go overboard, I think.
Oh, and I get that. And by the way, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I guess how I always view things are, I never view things how I believe that they should be. I view things for just how they are. And people think that I am signing off on ripping Simone Biles for quitting on her teammates, or that I'm signing off on ripping Joe Burrow for not being mentally strong enough to play through an injury when Tom Brady had a torn MCL and played an entire season and won a Super Bowl. Like, if I was that guy, I could say, well, come on, Joe Burrow. Tom Brady played with a torn MCL and he won a Super Bowl, and yet you can't even handle the first week of training camp. I am not saying that. What I'm bringing to the forefront of the conversation is asking people why we give some people a break and not others. Because whether you want to admit it or not, the crossover between Burrow and Simone Biles, it's there. I just laid it out for you. People are trying hard to they don't want to listen to what I'm saying and actually see where I'm coming from. I'm not comparing the sports. I'm not comparing the two athletes. There's really not a lot of comparisons between the two. She's way more athletic than he is, by the way. I'm just going to say, like, yeah, let's just be real. She's probably more athletic than half the damn people in the NFL to begin with, but that's not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation was both extremely talented athletes. Both, we know what they could do at the peak of, when they're healthy and physically and mentally fit. but both have been brought down because mentally it's in their way. Mentally, she couldn't perform because of the twisties, as if we don't think she could perform. We've seen her perform.
Right.
But this Olympics kept her from performing at that level. Joe Burrow, we know what he's physically capable of doing when he's healthy, physically and mentally. But mentally, he's not trusting his body, so that's what's throwing him off. And I see people in the comment section, it's week 1 of training camp, like, shut up. That's what I'm saying, because you're not listening. And if you're not going to listen to me, I'm just going to tell you to shut up then, because shut up and listen. I'm not criticizing Burrow. I don't care. I agree with you. It's week 1. But week 1 of training camp right now, what is keeping him from elevating is that. And they've come out and said it. The teammates have come out and said it. He's not trusting his knee. That's not my opinion. That's what's happening. So shut up, people, and stop doing this thing where, Kinner's bashing them. No, I'm actually defending him, saying that it's mental. It's going to take time for him to trust that knee again. And this is why for the last year I've been so adamant. Get him an offensive line so that he's not worried about that. It must be, say what you want about Baker, but my God, he at least, it doesn't mean he won't get hurt, but he trusts when he drops back, he knows he's going to have protection. He knows he's going to be, have time to throw. Burrow doesn't have that. Even with an improved offensive line, he's still not going to 100% trust his knee. And by the way, it has nothing to do with OL. It doesn't matter if you have the best O-line in football. If someone comes around, it could be your own offensive lineman. Because keep in mind, in pass containment, when they drop back, Kev, they're the ones closer to his leg than the actual defender. That's all I'm trying to say as far as that goes. But yeah, like what we were just talking about, there are stats that we actually uphold people to and say, they're great because look at how they perform better than anybody else when the game is on the line. They're mentally stronger than everybody. We've been saying that throughout the history of sports. Now, I'm curious, are we going to get to a point where we stop praising guys for being better in clutch than those who aren't, because now we're calling them mentally weak? So, again, I'm not saying I think this. I'm basically just saying the reality is this is how it's leaked. Yeah. So there we go. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Brian McCoy says, stop taking everything so personal. Cut down on the Red Bulls. What are you trying to say, Brian? What are you trying to say? I have a Red Bull addiction? Are you trying to say that I don't take things personal? What are you trying to say, Brian? I'm calm. Actually, I shouldn't be calm today, but I am very calm. Today's been a crappy day, but I am pretty calm. So there you go.
Oh, you want to talk about a bad day? I can talk about a bad day.
We all can.
We definitely need to talk about that. I won't say the name of the place, but we can definitely talk about that.
That's a line too that we'll talk through the break, then we'll bring it back on the other side. How about that? Now, so you heard what me and Kev have to say. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What is the difference? Why is Joe Burrow getting a pass for his mental block, keeping him from performing at a high level right now? Why is that okay? But we totally destroyed Simone Biles, who was mentally out of it, wasn't able to perform at her highest peak. We said she was a quitter and all this. She's letting her team down. I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying Joe Burrow's letting his team down, but I'm wanting to know why you guys aren't saying that. Because weren't you just saying that about Simone? This is the same thing. It's the same thing. And if you say it's week 1 of training camp, I'll just hang up. Let's talk. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast: low tonight of 65, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, high of 87 and partly cloudy. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Wendy's only makes one kind of breakfast, your new favorite one. How do we do it? With fresh cracked eggs, oven-baked bacon, and flaky croissants. You know, the things your old breakfast wasn't doing. So toss that old news and its soggy eggs somewhere useful. And get to Wendy's, where the sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit are just 2 for $4. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $4.
Limited time only. Single item at regular price. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. The JCPenney Mystery Sale is back. How much will you save? Shop Thursday through Sunday, and you could get an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off with in-store coupon giveaway. Save on brands like Arizona and Exertion. Plus, discover our new kids brand, Thereabouts. Styles designed with every kid in mind. Plus, shop extended store hours, smart shopping, and surprise savings. JCPenney. Offer valid 8/5 to 8/8. Giveaway in stores only. While supplies last. Must be 18 or older. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We'll help you find everything you need to do the job right. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still. Because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I don't know how many of you still work from home or live close enough to work to walk or are fortunate to drive to work. Kev, how do you get to work?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, thank goodness for my beautiful wife. She bought a new car back in October. And, they were talking about, hey, you can trade in your car and, knock some money off. And she was like, no, I'm going to keep it or whatever. So, we had 3 cars at home. Kind of was a hassle at first, moving cars in and out the driveway. We only have a 1-car garage where she parks, by the way. But, ultimately, my car had a little issue. And it was a check engine light situation. It just kept going off and getting these system checked and everything like that. So obviously it's a check engine light. That's a serious situation. So I took it to the dealership, who shall remain nameless. And I took it there once. I paid money. They, quote unquote, fixed it. Same issue happened. Took it back there again to get it, quote unquote, fixed. Paid money. Same issue happened again. Took it back a third time. They updated the computer in the car. They reset some things, and the same issue happened again. And then I took it up there on July 6th. July 6th.
Today's the 5th, by the way.
Of August. And my car's been there ever since. Minimal contact, minimum updates. Matter of fact, the only updates that I ever would get is what I will call. I'm the customer at that. It paid multiple times and still hadn't got the vehicle fixed. So now today I go up to unnamed dealership and try to get some type of update. And they say they're sending out an engineer to look at my vehicle, which is great, but it's going to take at least 2 more weeks. So we're going to be looking at a minimum of 6 weeks without my car.
But that dealership wants your payment for that said car.
Thank goodness I paid off my car.
That's why they're in no hurry.
Thank goodness I've already paid off my car. My car has been paid off for like a little over a year and a half and everything like that. And, no loaner vehicles, none of that type of good stuff like that. So if you would like to help me get my vehicle, I would encourage everybody to retweet my tweet at my Twitter page, the #1 Kev Nash. Help me get my vehicle back.
Start a movement.
Start a movement. Lots of friends and family members. Absolutely. Lots of friends and family members have retweeted my message to this certain dealership and their parent company about getting my vehicle back and getting my vehicle back fixed correctly. So any help, any retweets will help. 1 Kev Nash on the gram and Twitter.
Very weird. Very strange. And you
all the behind the scenes.
I always come in and tell you how I'd handle it, and you're handling it way different than me. And they would also be telling me to cut back on the Red Bull if that was me in that situation. So I'm just saying.
You and my mom have something in common. Some of the same things you've been telling me off air. She's been telling me that for 3 weeks.
There you go. But
listen to Kenner and my mom. That's what I should be doing.
I mean, as the listeners know, Kenner is always right. There you go. But we welcome you back to kind of catch everybody up. I opened up with this Joe Burrow discussion. If there's been discussion all day, concerns about Joe Burrow. Yes, about the knee. I mean, and this is why yesterday I asked. And by the way, this is a non-Bengals hitting segment, so you could stick around. For the Snowflake Bengals fans, you could stick around. You don't have to leave. You could stick around. The concern is, yes, about the knee, of course, but it's more mental than it is physical when it comes to Joe Burrow's knee. Getting, when he's not confident stepping in to his throws in the pocket when anyone gets around him. He has been, seen by according to multiple reports, like getting very kind of uncomfortable when anyone gets real close to him, and 1,000,000% understandably so. And I brought up the fact that when you think about what's keeping him from performing at a high level, and yes, training camp and the Olympics, no crossover there whatsoever. But this idea that athletes are supposed to just not have any mental weaknesses at all, that it's all about physical strengths, and that, who are they to have any kind of mental weaknesses? They should just perform at the drop of a dime, right? Like, that's what the expectation is. That's what we learned, at least from the common reaction to Simone Biles, was that she was not allowed to have a mental off day, that she had to perform at a high level. And if she didn't, then she was a quitter. She let her team down. She's overrated. We heard all those things. But Joe Burrow's the same situation. Joe Burrow is super, super talented. We know what he's capable of when he is physically and mentally into it, just like we knew what Simone Biles is physically and mentally capable of when she's into what she's doing. Mentally, there was a block there. She had the twisties, and that is when you mentally, your body is not letting you do physically what your mind is trying to do, and there's just a block there. And she didn't trust herself and wasn't going to risk her health or risk her team success. I don't agree with the whole I'm not going to perform and risk hurting my team. That's where I thought that line was kind of taken and run with it a little bit. But I did agree, because I don't understand gymnastics, when she said mentally, if you're not into it, you're so vulnerable up in the air, you could easily just fall on your neck and paralyze yourself. I'm like, okay, I can understand that now. I completely changed my view when I heard that. But it's the same concept here. Week 1 of training camp, the Olympics. We all know week 1 is way bigger of the training camp than the Olympics. It's right. It's the NFL. No, I'm joking. But my point is that Joe Burrow, we know what he's capable of. I'm not going to doubt what he's capable of. I know he's going to be one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league for a long, long time, hopefully. But right now, mentally, he's not into it. And he's not performing at a high level because of that. And I know it's only week 1, but I don't care. He could be fine next week and return, and that's fine. And mentally, he's going to be into it. So right now, I was asking why do we give Burrow a pass but not Simone Biles? Because it's the same concept. I mean, vastly different stages. All right. She's at the World Olympics in Tokyo. And Joe Burrow is outside with no indoor facility in Cincinnati, Ohio, week 1 of training camp. That's it. That's the last one, I promise. But the point is I want to know why we give him a pass. Because all day today, Justin, stop being critical. He's mentally not into it. He's worried about his knee. Well, she was worried about her neck. What's the difference? That's what I just want to know, the difference. That's all. 518-1410, 518-1410. That is the number. Real quick, we'll go to the Facebook reaction. I meant Scott Campbell on YouTube, Kev. He goes, I got T-boned once, and it took a few years for me to relax going through the intersection where it happened. It's the same thing. That's a great, Scott, I appreciate that example right there. That's a great example of, sure, he walked away from that accident and he's able to drive, but still it doesn't mean that every time he goes through an intersection that he doesn't tense up, because he wasn't anticipating that car to hit him. Joe Burrow wasn't anticipating to go down with that type of injury. I mean, it was ACL, MCL, ABC, every letter in the alphabet, it seemed that he tore in that game against Washington in week 10. So yes, he is going to be a little hesitant going back, which is why I was very surprised at the timetable for him coming back. But the doctors cleared him. So the reason I've been critical is because if the doctors clear you and you're going out there to perform, then you are opening the door to be praised if you're playing well, and you're opening the door to be criticized if you're not. Now I'm criticizing the struggles of the offense as a whole. I've never really criticized Joe Burrow as per se, but now we kind of know why. We kind of know, okay, he's not himself because he's hesitant in the pocket, doesn't trust people around his knee. There are a lot of comparisons in this situation to Simone Biles. The stage is drastically different. It's week 1 of training camp. Nothing that important compared to being on the world stage of the Olympics in Tokyo, but the overall greatness of the both athletes not being able to perform at a high level because there was a mental block, that's where the crossover is here. And I want to know why one was vilified for it and the other one is being given a pass. And I thought about whether he should get a pass or not. That's not what I want this topic to be about. I just want to know why we view it differently, because really, when you think about it, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Is it a lack of respect for the sport that she's playing?
I just think no, I think it's no one is truly, and again, I don't mean this to disrespectfully to those gymnastics fans out there, but let's be real. Gymnastics isn't a nationwide phenomenon. Like right. There's not people filling up stadiums for it.
People care 4 times a year.
And every 4 years. Football, it's a lot. It's blood, man. Like everyone, they live football. Joe Burrow, the way I hear Bengals fans talk about him, they love him, which I can relate. I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I'll never say I love him the way I hear see people kind of, whatever. But like people, they're passionate about their teams. No one out there outside of gymnasts in the small circle of those who are fans of that, no one's living and dying gymnastics. No one's buying gymnastics jerseys. No one is buying gymnastics weekly. No one is doing, who do you got in the fantasy beam flipping this week? I have no clue what the hell gymnastics is. So excuse me. That's my point. The reason I think she's not getting a pass is because the only thing we know about her is we're told how great she is. We see her in all these commercials. We expect some greatness out of her the one time we watch her every 4 years. And I'm not disrespecting her. That's just the reality of it. And then we run into that. And, wait, we've been hearing about this girl for how long now? And now she's saying, she's taking a mental off day. She quit. Joe Burrow, who we follow his journey, we follow him getting drafted, we follow him at Ohio State, we follow him to LSU, we follow him to winning a national championship, we follow him through winning a Heisman, we follow him through being the number 1 overall pick, going to Cincinnati, having one hell of a rookie year, the heartbreaking injury, his rookie season being cut short, and it was just like the air being let out of that balloon. It was devastating to the Bengals fans. So you sympathize with him. You don't sympathize with Simone Biles. She's, that doesn't make her less of a person by any means. It's just the level of the sports and how they're viewed. And I think that's where the difference is coming in. But 518-1410, Kev, who do we have up first?
We have a Browns fan on the line.
Browns fan. Now, I'm trying to behave myself, so you need to behave as well. Don't take any cracks at the Bengals, please. How are you? Who is this, by the way? Did you give us a name?
He's gone. He left.
Was that John? That was John. So who's on the next line?
We got Doug.
Doug, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Good afternoon. I think you were touching upon the difference between Joe Burrows and Simone in that it was expectations. We had these big expectations that she was going to repeat in the overall get the golds. Whereas with Joe Burrows, we all saw what he did with his knee. We all are expecting that knee is going to be an issue this year. And so our expectations are much lower for Joe because we can all see what injury he has. Whereas in the case of Simone Biles, we can't see that injury. It's all in her head, but we cannot see it. And so our expectations are completely different between the two athletes. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but
no, and I think you're on to something. I think what you're saying, too, is that the circumstances are slightly different. And Kev asked this earlier, when are we going to view mental health the way we do a torn MCL or ACL, that type of deal? That's a separate conversation, but I think it plays a role in this conversation in regards to we could sympathize with Burrow more because it's a physical injury that's leading to a mental injury or leading to a mental concern, to where with Biles, we see this physical, fit, amazing athlete, and we can't see what's going on mentally in her head, so we can't relate, and we just sit there and call her a quitter. That's where I think the separation does form in this conversation. But Doug, let me say this. And again, we all are guilty of this, of if when we hear stuff and don't hear stuff, we think that that's how the whole world operates. I haven't heard anybody out there talk about the concerns of Joe Burrow being confident to start the season because Joe Burrow, I have multiple quotes of him saying, I don't even think about my knee. I'm not worried about it. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go. Fans have been chirping that he's going to, be the second best quarterback in the AFC North this year and all that stuff. And now I see fans walking it back like, well, of course he's having mental issues with this. Of course, Justin, you should have known. That's where I'm calling out the hypocrisy of fans. I agree with you, Doug, that we should all be on the same side of saying, oh, well, of course he's having these mental issues. It should be expected, but I don't think it was expected. I think fans wanted him to be 100 million% ready to go, and now we're just kind of compartmentalizing a bit.
You're right, and I think the other thing is, and sometimes it happens in sports. Oftentimes you have to get back on the horse that threw you. Mm-hmm. Maybe he needs to take a few hits, and they're protecting him, and so his reaction is to protect himself.
Absolutely.
And therefore not perform at the higher level.
Absolutely. I sit down and talk for 3 hours a day. I don't do the most physical, strenuous thing I do is walk up the stairs. I'm not faced with any kind of physical adversity coming to work every day like these athletes are, whether it be the Olympics and gymnastics or playing quarterback for the Bengals. So, no, I could sympathize with all athletes when it comes to these types of things. So it's going to be interesting. I hope it's something he can get over quickly, but you do got to ask yourself, what's the right way for the Bengals to handle this? Do they need to sit him? Maybe not because he's not physically ready, but mentally, if he's not ready, he's hurting the team and he's hurting himself, right?
Could be.
All right. Well, Doug, hey, I appreciate that.
They play so many games, you can't believe anything they say anyhow. Everything is all in PR terms.
And Doug, that's a funny thing because what happens if they gave Joe Burrow the day off yesterday, and he'll be back tomorrow. And he's off. I'm sorry. So they gave him off yesterday. He's off today, and he'll be back tomorrow. So, Doug, what happens if tomorrow he throws like 10 bombs to Jamar Chase and he looks like an MVP candidate? Does that mean all of a sudden he's no longer mentally bothered by this? Like what I was calling out yesterday was I don't want excuses. I don't want his struggles to be because of the physical and mental attributes of this. But then when he succeeds, it's because they don't exist anymore. You can't have it both ways. So I am curious how this is going to go moving forward. I saw someone in our comment section say next week he'll be performing at a high level and we'll forget about all this. Maybe, but you can't just say, oh, he's mentally strong because he's playing well, and then he's mentally weak because he's not playing well.
Well, until the season starts, we aren't going to know anything.
True that. I agree. Hey, Doug, I appreciate your call. Call anytime. All right, good stuff. I appreciate people's different takes on this, and but that's true. What happens, Kev, next week if he's performing at a high level? Now, what does that mean? Does that mean he just had a couple days of mental weakness? I hate. See, but we're learning how to change how we phrase things.
Right.
Mental weakness. That was an everyday sports term a year ago, 2 years ago. Now, when I say it, I feel like I'm saying, like I'm offending people. Oh, he's mentally weak. Man, what a wuss. He can't even, my knee. 7 months ago, he tore his ACL, his MCL. It was worse than what they had anticipated when he was carted off the field that day. So, the fact that he's back, that's amazing in itself. But at the same time, there comes a point where if you're cleared to play, there are going to come expectations of you playing at a level that if you're cleared to play. That's why they're so strict on clearing, not clearing. Are you cleared to play or not? And that's why I kept asking. I've yet to get an answer. I don't think it's a set percentage. What percent of health do you have to be cleared by a team doctor? I don't know. Who we got?
We got Rob.
Rob or Ron?
Rob.
How are you, Rob?
Rob.
How are you, sir?
I want to do a Rob.
It's
a real party.
If Burrow is so worried about his knee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mentally worried about his knee, I believe that he had a little bit of influence on getting a wide receiver pick in the first round instead of the offensive lineman.
Oh, look, bottom line is, and I brought this up last year about, you got to be careful how much power you give to the player because sometimes they're not going to think of what's best for the team. They're going to think of what's best for them. If Joe Burrow comes out and says, no, you desperately need to get me an offensive lineman, it comes across as if he's saying, I don't trust my guys, even though he should, because I wouldn't trust those guys either. But you don't want to be that diva quarterback that's like, no, get these guys out of here. But sometimes you have to be that guy. We as employees sometimes have to be the ones that speak up and say, no, boss, you're wrong. I'm right. You got to do what's best for me. But then there's times where we are selfish individuals and we want things that are going to be fun for us, but may not be best for the company. So wanting Jamar Chase was not what was best for the company. It was what was best for him. But what was best for the team was to get an offensive line. But that's just a talking point. At the end of the day, I see what you're saying. But even if they would have drafted Penei Sewell, that wouldn't eliminate him having the yips right now, right? He would still be uncomfortable in the pocket. And there's Sewell, Joe Tooney. It wouldn't matter who they would have added to that line. That's not going to eliminate the yips, if that's what you want to call it, as far as that's concerned.
Well, I just don't understand why they even went ahead and medically cleared him anyway. They could have just waited and said, okay, 2 weeks before week one, he's ready to play. I mean, why did they even medically clear him right now?
Well, maybe they medically cleared him because the knee is ready, but mentally he's not. And you can't know these type of things.
So
go ahead.
You could have, they could have just said no, he just needs a little bit more work on his knee. He's not cleared right now.
Maybe like we were talking about yesterday, when he's doing these drills at home or, just him and a wide receiver, everything's fine. But you throw that offense and defensive line at you, it's a totally different ball game. And, like we were talking about, potential knee swelling, doing workouts is different from actual football reps. So these are just like a situation that he has to deal with. And I hope he gets over it because I want to see him play football just like everybody else.
Right. I do too. But really, I think that they could have just kept it a little bit more quiet and said, okay, he's just not ready yet. The knee's not ready. I mean, when's the first game? Because we all knew that he wasn't going to take a snap in preseason.
Are you asking when the week 1 game is? It's September 12th.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like,
September
and by the
12th,
way,
yeah.
and here's the concern. Again, Bengals fans, relax. I'm not ripping the team, but I think Bengals fans, you need to listen to this and understand where I'm coming from. I do believe that Joe Burrow's knee should have been more of a point of emphasis on where they were at within the progression of that, because I did find it interesting that in the very first day of training camp, you had Zach Taylor say, they're not going to handle him with kid gloves. They're not going to baby him. These are actual quotes. They said they were not going to baby him. They were not going to ease him into it, that they were going to bring him back and that he was going to go, right off the bat, he's going to participate in every drill and everything. And then not even 10 minutes later, when Mike Brown met with the media, he said that they don't want him playing in the preseason games. They don't want to risk anything during this stretch.
Right.
It just, to me, what that screamed is that they may have talked about it in passing, but it really wasn't a point of emphasis of what is our real plan here to protect. The Chicago Bulls, when Michael Jordan had his injury early in his career, they knew it was going to be an unpopular opinion. They knew Michael Jordan was going to be ticked off. They knew it was creating tension between him and the coaches and the teammates in big games and everything, but they had a plan and they were adamant about sticking to it. I don't feel like the Bengals have a plan with this, but I do think they need to figure it out, because I think that right now, especially with seeing the concerns, I think they need to make sure that they don't push him too early and risk losing him for another season and then maybe even next year too if this doesn't heal correctly. I'm not a Bengals guy, but I want Joe Burrow healthy. I want him healthy because I want the Bengals good.
What week did he get hurt again? I can't remember. Washington.
I don't remember the date of that. It was in December.
So we're not even talking 7 months, 8 months on a completely blown out knee. I mean, let's just be realistic. I mean, and not everybody is can come back like Adrian Peterson and gain a couple thousand yards or whatever after blowing a knee. Everybody's different. I mean, he blew out a knee. It's going to take a while.
I'm with you. But hey, Rob,
hey, go Irish, Florida State, the first game. Let's go 12-0, baby.
Let's hope not.
12-0. Hey, Rob, take care, man. I appreciate the call. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. All right, good stuff. I hope in these conversations we don't offend people in them, because I talk very fast and sometimes I just say things that come to my mind right away. But if we do say something that you disagree with or want to discuss, give us a call. 518-1410. Let's discuss, because I find these things fascinating. I said this earlier. We're being told right now that we have to handle mental health with kid gloves, but the problem is that you can't just turn a switch off. We have been trained to judge athletes for what they can do in the peak moments. Michael Jordan, we talk about it all the time. In fact, Peyton Manning was considered a regular season quarterback because when the playoffs got there and the moment was big, Peyton Manning for the longest time was not good in the playoffs. Peyton Manning was viewed as a regular season quarterback because he couldn't perform in the big pressure moments of the playoffs, right? Those moments exist. I mean, Tracy McGrady in the NBA, he was the king of getting the Magic and then the Rockets to the NBA playoffs, but he couldn't win in the first round. So then he was viewed as less valuable than some of the better players in the league. Peyton Manning, great statistical quarterback, couldn't win in the playoffs. And now we looked at him as below Tom Brady. We looked at him, he's more talented than Tom Brady, but he was below Tom Brady because he couldn't win in the playoffs, right? Now that perception was, changed as his career went on. And let's look at the role reversal. Eli Manning was not a great regular season quarterback. That's the whole reason that we debate whether he's a Hall of Famer or not, because his numbers aren't solid. They're not the best. They don't pop off the charts to you. But you look at how he played in the Super Bowl. Both Super Bowls, he beat the New England Patriots. They won the Super Bowl as a wild card team. They had no business winning all their playoff games on the road and then having to beat the big, bad New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So we look at Eli Manning as this mental marvel, right? Like, my gosh, when the moment's big, he steps up. So we've always been talking mental health in sports. We just never viewed it as mental health. We've just been labeling guys and labeling them as great or not based on what they do in the most high pressure situations. 518-1410, hour 2. We'll get to your calls and more reaction next.
It's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still, because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible, because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, 12 packs of True Red ballpoint pens are just 97 cents, and binders are only $1.88 each. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Ends 9/18. Prices may vary online.
Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. Why let those dishes pile up? Dawn Dish Spray cleans them super fast. Just spray, rock, rinse. Baby's taking a nap. Clean those bottles in a snap. Just spray, rock, rinse. Dawn Dish Spray, it's a spray for your dishes. Smoothie mess in a blender, clean and easy, can't bad. Just spray, rock, rinse. Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. How's it work again? Just spray, rock, rinse.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Cover-All Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
There's something special about a sit-down family meal together. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, we couldn't agree more. That's why we're making it easy with our 8-piece family meal for only $22.99. Enjoy a classic family meal without the hassle. It includes 8 mixed pieces of Famous Recipe Chicken, 2 large sides, and 4 fluffy biscuits. At Lee's, making your family's meal special is what we do best. Get a homestyle meal made easy with our 8-piece family meal for only $22.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hi, folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of the year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $8.95, flats of annuals starting at $8.95, and hanging baskets starting at $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry, and lots of ponds, pottery, and statuary. So come on out to 1309 Brand Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Great values are happening now during low summer savings. Get values across the store, including appliances, ceiling fans, landscape lighting, and more. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Ready to check home ownership off your bucket list, but worried you can't afford it? The Ohio Housing Finance Agency is here to help. We offer down payment assistance and discounted interest rates to recent Ohio college grads, teachers, nurses, veterans, and more. Not a first-time home buyer? We've got a program for you too. Find out if you qualify at myohiohome.org. That's myohiohome.org. Home ownership, ready when you are. Sponsored by the Ohio Housing Finance Agency, aired by the OAB and this station.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? Strike him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Just a reminder the new hotline number to call in and be a part of the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash weekdays from 3 to 6. The new hotline number, 518-1410, 518-1410. Put 937 in front of that if you're calling from outside of the Dayton area. But 518-1410, the new hotline number. We went pretty much all summer without phones, and it's nice to have them back because it's nice to hear your guys' voices to kind of mix up the back and forth. Kevin and I have not had an argument on air since the phones have been back because we just got tired of hearing each other's voice and just for 3 hours every single day. So, but yeah, 518-1410. And by the way, we are live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube. And head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinder Show, like, subscribe, follow along. You could watch it live, and you can leave your opinions in the chat section, and then we pull your opinion into the show. And then it's cool because you get to see your Facebook profile picture. People love seeing their Facebook profile picture go across the bottom. So
Facebook famous.
Yeah, Facebook famous. But the same, goes for YouTube as well. Everyone has YouTube. Everyone has Facebook, or at least the vast majority of you do. So subscribe to the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel as well. That's where you'll be able to watch the Keith Byers Show, the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash. We're going to have Talking Out Loud with Sully coming back again for another season as UD basketball season around the corner. We'll get into their non-conference around the moment. I know this sounds crazy, but I actually don't have a problem with their non-conference. Of course, I have a problem with the no Wright State UD matchup. I think that I still think this is the only mean thing I'll say. UD's a bunch of wusses for not playing Wright State. They're cowards for not playing Wright State. But outside of that, the people that are criticizing their schedule right now, I actually get it. And I don't mind it, and I'll tell you why coming up here in just a few moments. But I told you the number, 518-1410, talking about this Joe Burrow situation. I'm just curious. I mean, I made the Simone Biles, crossover comparison there, but I think right now we're transitioning to the point of this is what is the right thing to do? And this doesn't have to just be a Bengals conversation. If the Cleveland Browns were in this situation with Baker Mayfield, and the fan in me is like, oh my gosh, I want him to play. I want him out there. But I also don't want him out there at the expense of risking losing him for another full season and maybe further out. What if he redamages it because it's not fully healed? And maybe it is. He's been cleared. That's why all the mumbo jumbo coming out about his knee, I just don't understand what's true and what's not, because for him to have been cleared, that means they had to have evaluated that knee and felt comfortable enough for him to be able to play on it to clear him to begin with. And now that he's struggling, now all these reports are coming out that, there's, concerns about the knee. Man, I'm not saying I don't believe that there's no concerns about the knee, but it's like, what is it? Are we just concerned about the knee because he's not performing well 1 week into training camp? If he starts performing well in training camp, is all of a sudden the knee issue is going to disappear? I don't know. But I'm curious. 518-1410, we have Bob waiting for us. Bob, how are you? Thank you for being patient.
Hey, I am the one who's going to clear the whole situation up. And I think you guys did a great job of clearing it up. It's mental. It's normal. It's normal to be in that situation. I was there Saturday. Okay, when
you go to training camp,
open practice.
How was that? I'm so happy for people getting to attend these again because last year sucked, man. So good for you. I'm glad you got out there.
It was awesome, and I'm gonna tell you this: in 7-on-7, he was excellent. He was like 10 for 13.
But so are these reports too harsh? Are these reports too harsh in your opinion, Bob?
Yes, he was outstanding. The problem is, as Kevin mentioned, it's a whole different ball game when it's 11-on-11.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental. I would be mental too. If, until he takes a hit and gets up, you wonder, can I plant? You're not going to feel comfortable in that situation. But again, just throwing the ball and his movement, I think his knee is fine, but it's all, it's from the neck up. It's mental and it's normal to be in that situation. When you suffered an injury like he suffered, coming back this quick is one thing, but if you look at his movement skills and all the stuff he's doing, you would never know he had that knee injury other than the brace. But again, Saturday, he was like, 10 to 12, 11 to 13. He was hitting receivers all over the place. But then Monday, when they start putting on the pads, they went to 11-on-11. Now you got linemen in the game. Now you start to see a little pushback. Now the pocket, 7-on-7, there is no pocket. Well, when it's 11-on-11, okay, let's see what's going on. So to me, it's normal that you're going to have that situation until he gets hit. Then, he's not going to feel comfortable with it. But I will say this, though. I think what Mike Brown said, no, he ain't playing. That's what I agree with until I see what the offensive line is going to look like. Put Brandon Allen out there in the preseason, and see how these guys play. Now, Brandon Allen is out there getting, knocked around like a rag doll and getting sacked. Then guess what? Then Joe ain't playing.
Well,
he's not playing.
Bob, real quick, and here's the thing. So this article came out on July 29th, so last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a quote from Joe Burrow. And again, things change, but this quote is what people keep using to now say, okay, now we're just using this knee injury as an excuse for why the offense isn't clicking, when really this quote was just from a week ago. Joe Burrow said, I feel 100%. At this point, I'm not even really thinking about my knee. It's not even something I'm concerned about. I don't even think about it. It's like it never happened. So, and again, this is before training camp starts. He gets out there. And then you don't know till you know. I know that's a weird thing to say, but you don't know till you know. No, he didn't know at that time. So I get it, but this quote right here is what a-holes like me use to try to to basically discredit that argument. Look, I think that it's going to be a part of the season all year. What I don't want to have happen is him playing well, the knee injury doesn't exist. And then when he doesn't play well, it's because of the knee. That's what I don't like. That's what I don't want this to turn into. But I am concerned about the knee.
But the thing is, Justin, what is he supposed to say?
I'm just not playing well.
Too. Yeah, I mean, he is, but the point is, he was playing well until the
not according to Paul Dehner Jr. Bob. You're just a fan.
Well,
what do you know?
No, Justin. When did the article come out? Was that Monday?
What the one? And by the way, I was joking about what do you know, Bob? I trust you. But you talking about which article? The ESPN article?
No. The Dehner article.
Those aren't even really. Those are him live tweeting practices saying that it's been a brutal day offensively.
Yeah, but that was picked up from ESPN because of the reporters. But again, all practice, whenever there were any linemen involved, Joe Burrow hadn't been involved in any of that. He hadn't been involved in any of it. All he's been doing is the 7-7 with no linemen. You remember when he first came back, they wouldn't even have running back standing next to him.
Okay, but if he's concerned before the linemen even get there, then this is a bigger problem than we think, because there's only going to be more people around him as time goes on.
Of course. But that's normal. That's what I'm saying. It's mental. Until you get hit, until you get in a situation where you feel like, yeah, I can run around and he looks good running around. But again, until I get tackled, that's a whole different ball game. And that's anybody that's coming off of any kind of knee
But where was all of this talk in all summer? You Bengals fans have been coming at me. Not once have I heard any Bengals fans say, Justin, we got to be concerned about his knee. You guys have all been chirping. Jamar Chase, he's going to be the Jerry Rice 2.0. Joe Burrow will be John Elway. I mean, my goodness.
That's not the same. It's not the same. Listen to Kevin. It's not the same.
I never listen to Kevin.
Conversation. Well, you should, because Kevin hit it right on the nail. It's not the same. That's not the same conversation. He's looked good with no line. With no line. And
he hasn't played with the line since he got to Cincinnati.
Well, okay, if you want to say that. But, hey, and even saying that, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell, first of all, he's struggling up there, which I understand they put him on a
different it's only week one of training camp. He'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, of course.
That's your guys' philosophy.
No. Listen, here's my question about Penei Sewell. How many times did you see him play?
I have his jersey, his Oregon jersey.
Thank you. None of us have. Only thing we've seen is highlights.
How many Jamar Chase games did you watch?
Okay. Well, they were on TV every week.
So was Oregon.
Yeah. How many games did you see Jackson Carman?
Oh, please, Jackson Carman. He was too busy playing at Clemson.
Okay. No.
We watched a lot. By the way, hold up real quick. Nobody watches a game and is zeroed in on offensive linemen. No one cares. You know what you look at? You see how many times the quarterback was hit.
If he's playing for Clemson and he's protecting the blind side of Trevor Lawrence, they were in the playoffs all the time. So only thing I'm saying, I'm not saying he's better than Sewell. Only thing I am saying is I've seen him play. I've never seen Penei Sewell play, just like you haven't, just like Kevin haven't. Only thing
name a good game for Jackson Carman. Name a good game. What game in college did Jackson Carman have that you were like, man, that's a dude. He's a dude.
How did they get? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, well, how did they get to the playoffs? Why was he starting for 3 years? I think Dabo Sweeney knows what he's talking about.
How many offensive linemen on Clemson, Ohio State, and Bama's line do not get drafted? That doesn't mean anything.
It means something if he's protecting.
It means something if you want to make an excuse for why the Bengals didn't screw up taking him.
No excuse.
They could have taken him in the later round.
Again, because you know what this is? This is all chatter until they get out there and they start playing. Bottom line, I mean, we can say whatever we want to see until we actually see them get out there.
But people always say that, but we're not talking about what's going to happen come the season. We're just talking about what's happening right now, and right now they're not looking good.
Well, I just told you. Well, I mean, you can take it for whatever you want to take it. All I'm saying is 7-on-7, no problem. It's mental. Carson Palmer went through the same thing. He had to go through the same thing.
I don't care if there's no issues on 7-on-7. That's not how the game's played. The game's played with people around him, and if he's not able to mentally go over that next step,
are we not? Well, yes, but don't everybody have to mentally get over that? Yeah, I mean, is he ever going to get? I'm pretty sure he will, but again, until you take that first hit, that's anybody. That's called common sense. Talk to Kevin. You know what, Kevin? I'm gonna call your radio show earlier. We can talk, man. Because Justin,
I'll leave you two alone. I'll give the floor to Kev. Kev, you chime in. You and him interact. I want Bob to go away happy, or just go away.
No. It's been a long time. It's been fun, man. We got to get at it, man.
Absolutely, and I feel bad for you. You're a Bengals fan.
So, what do you think the Bengals record is going to be this season?
It depends on what happens with Burrow.
Let's say
depends on what happens with Burrow.
Let's say he's healthy, the knee is fine, mentally he's fine. What's their record?
I could see them winning 9-10 games.
So
I think their defense is going to be
a playoff.
I think their defense, maybe. I think their defense is going to be absolutely very good. I think they spend a lot of time on that. But it'll come down to the line. But injuries and all that stuff play a part, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But I can see them winning 9-10 games.
What's their record versus the Browns this year?
Hey, and let me. Well, first of all, they could have beat the Browns twice last year. They should have beat them the second game. Darius Phillips turns around and knocks the ball down. So don't give me that Browns crap. I'm
tagging back in. No. The only reason, keep going, Bob.
Let me hear you. Go ahead, Justin.
I have 2.5 more hours, or an hour and a half. Oh, this show's flying by. Thank you to Bob and the callers. Listen, last year they only had a chance to beat the Browns because the Browns defense was so damn bad, which that's not the case this year. Okay. So there you go.
Well, how do you know that? We ain't seen them play. Have they played? I haven't seen their defense.
Has Jamar Chase played? Do you know how good Jamar Chase is going to be? You're the one telling me that Jamar Chase was a god. That he should have been. Every team should have picked him.
He is out there. I have seen him play. I will say that. I've seen him play in person. Yeah, he is. He's pretty darn good. I will go with that. But your defense, we'll see. And you know what? You know what I think about the Browns? Let the Browns make a Super Bowl.
It used to be let the Browns make the playoffs. Then they make the playoffs. Then it was, let the Browns get a playoff win. Then they get a win in the playoffs. And now we got Bob, the Bengals fan over here.
2 years. Hey, Justin, make it 2 years in a row.
See what I mean? You keep moving the damn goalpost back. You're Bob the Builder of the Bengals, Can we fix it? Well, we'll see. There we go.
My last comment. The last 15 years, the Steelers have won 6 division titles. Baltimore has 5. The Bengals have 4. Browns have 0.
And the Browns have a playoff win. So you collect them division titles, and the Browns will keep winning in the playoffs.
Hey, make the playoffs. Make them 2 years in a row, and then I'll give you a little bit more respect.
It used to. Bye, Bob.
Later, Bob.
All right, later, fellas.
Nope, not today, Satan. Not today. Not gonna work.
Bob, you got him. He's getting red over here.
All right. My dude, Brad Mays. Shout out to Brad Mays. He goes, if the Bengals do not fix the O-line, they will turn Burrow into Derek Carr, running for his life and only throwing checkdowns.
Check down, Charlie.
So there you go. Scott Campbell says, of course, Joe Burrow was outstanding. The Bengals don't have an indoor practice facility. Scott, I don't know what. But no, to Bob's point, Bob was saying he was at camp and he looked great in 7-on-7. It was the 11-on-11 that he had a problem with. Well, if he struggles every time you add more people to the equation, that's kind of a problem. I don't care if he's the 7-on-7 champion. I don't mean anything. Just saying. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. 9 or 10 games. Give me a break.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast, low tonight of 65, partly cloudy skies, tomorrow high of 87 and partly cloudy. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Wendy's only makes one kind of breakfast, your new favorite one. How do we do it? With fresh cracked eggs, oven-baked bacon, and flaky croissants. You know, the things your old breakfast wasn't doing. So toss that old news and its soggy eggs somewhere useful. And get to Wendy's, where the sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit are just 2 for $4. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $4.
Limited time only. Single item at regular price. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back-to-school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in-store only.
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The JCPenney Mystery Sale is back. How much will you save? Shop Thursday through Sunday, and you could get an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off with in-store coupon giveaway. Save on brands like Arizona and Exertion. Plus, discover our new kids brand, Thereabouts. Styles designed with every kid in mind. Plus, shop extended store hours, smart shopping, and surprise savings. JCPenney. Offer valid 8/5 to 8/8. Giveaway in stores only. While supplies last. Must be 18 or older. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
I said chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's interior design consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, Luke, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Look, an emu wearing sunglasses.
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go. Or was it they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
How about them Cowboys?
Uh-oh.
NFL preseason tonight, the Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio. First preseason game of the year. In fact, from now all the way until Super Bowl Sunday, there will be at least one football game every week moving forward, even if it just is preseason. So it's look, tonight the game will be on. I will be watching the game. I don't really care who wins. It is very cool just having football on. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the few sports that has built itself to be so big that the brands of the teams are bigger. Like, it's one of the few sports that the players have not become bigger. Like, Tom Brady is the biggest name in football. But Tom Brady, if he retired after next year, Kev, I don't think anything happens to the NFL. The NFL just keeps going. Mm-hmm. The NBA is full of stars, and people could say they hate LeBron all they want, but LeBron leaving, it'll be a huge void. I don't think that like that LeBron leaving will hurt the NBA. Yeah. It won't kill the NBA. I mean, look at all the stupid money that's been given. Alex Caruso just made bank. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the NBA will be fine. I'm not saying it'll crumble, but LeBron's exit of the NBA will hurt.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is the equivalent of LeBron to the NFL. I'm not saying it won't be noticed, but it won't be noticed. Like, it'll, you know what I mean? Like, Peyton Manning leaving, did it hurt? I felt some painful exits from baseball, like Derek Jeter. No one's Derek. Like, everyone says, oh, I hate the Yankees, I hate Derek Jeter. You felt like a piece of you left when he retired, because I grew up watching him. Like, he was baseball to me. You know, I'm not a Red Sox Yankees fan, but I watched Red Sox Yankees. That meant everything. But the NFL, I don't care who the teams are I'm watching. Worst Jacksonville, worst team in the league, Bengals, it don't matter. I'll watch. Okay. That's just how it is. Tonight I'll watch. It's pointless preseason football, but it's the reason it is as big as it is because of how, like, NFL would not be as big as it is if it wasn't for college, and college wouldn't be as big a deal if it wasn't for the NFL. They complement each other perfectly. I mean, college baseball doesn't complement Major League Baseball, because the stars of college baseball today are baseball stars 5-6 years from now, and you forget. You know,
yeah, and a ton of baseball players never even sniff college. You know, they go from high school to the minor leagues and work their way up and everything like that. You got, you know, foreign players coming to Major League Baseball. So, yeah, the college system isn't really a feeder system in baseball like the NFL is a feeder system with college football.
And it's interesting because basketball's turning, like, first of all, basketball's never been bigger than football, but the popularity is still always there. But I noticed this NBA draft, really, Cade Cunningham, really good players. Basketball's turning into baseball because it's younger, and just because they're in the league, they're not making it. I mean, look at Obi Toppin could end up being a huge star 5 years from now. But 5 years from now, like, the difference between the NBA and Major League Baseball is you at least get to watch the players develop on the main rosters. You know, we got to see Obi in the playoffs, but, like, look at the Bucks this year. Middleton has been a growing star for a while. You know, Giannis, 2-time MVP, but it feels like it took 8 years for them to finally arrive. Like, Middleton is, he is viewed differently now. The championship helps, yes. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a long journey before they're solidified. To where the NFL, Trevor Lawrence is a star, and he hasn't even played a damn snap yet. Joe Burrow played 9.5 games, and he's a star. Like, because he's a star coming out of college. They're not stars coming out of college basketball anymore. Like, they're you kind of familiar with them, but they're not stars. If you got 3 years of Jalen Suggs, if you got 3 years of Cade Cunningham, if you got 3 years of Zion, and Zion's different, he was a star. He's not a good example. Obi at least was somewhat recognizable coming out of college. We knew who the hell he was, of course, but keep in mind, folks, I'm talking nationally. There were still a lot of people who were having to look up who Obi was, who Dayton was. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's the case across all of college basketball. I'm noticing in the draft, basketball is slowly turning into that because these players, although they're on the main roster, they're not even close to. I mean, Zion's not even a finished product. He just has name recognizability. Same thing that Joe Burrow and these other guys have in the NFL, and that's what carries them until they finally do emerge. The NBA is in trouble as far as that regard is concerned because, I mean, Kawhi Leonard he wasn't a household name in college. Hell, when Spurs won the championship with him, he wasn't a household name when they won he's a household name now, but how long did it take into his NBA career? And I don't mean success doesn't make you a star as far as perception amongst fans is concerned. There's a lot of really good players in the NBA that aren't viewed as stars. Middleton's one of them. You were tooting his horn from the very beginning. I was like, oh, he's a glorified role player. What do you no, watch him in the playoffs. I'm like, okay, Kev was right. He is a perfect number 2, and being a number 2 is a good thing. It's Paul George is a great number 2. Middleton's a great number 2. There's lots of good number 2s in the league, but it takes a while to become a star. The NFL, these guys, you're going to recognize names tonight. They're like, oh, I watched him play for 3. You're going to recognize a lot of names tonight, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, the thing that's about the NFL, it's a factory, and dudes are cycled in and out. Think about Todd Gurley. He's only 28 years old, and he's already out the NFL. But in the NBA, we're talking about LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony entering year 19. Like, how
long has Derrick Rose been in? He just signed a 4-year deal. That's why I'm asking. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I feel like it's feeding off your point a bit.
Yeah, they play forever.
Like, Derrick Rose just signed a 4-year deal. I thought he was about to retire, and here he is, just signed a 4-year, $60 million deal.
D Rose is 32.
Oh yeah, 2008. He's my age. Yeah, because he graduated. He was a freshman at Memphis. When I was coming out of high school. So yeah. And that seems like forever ago.
Yeah, they like the big names and the big guys, or even just like role players. I mean, they play for a very long time. In the NFL, we bring up names like, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. The quarterbacks play a long time, but like the other positions, they don't play forever.
Yeah, Ted Ginn, when he retired, I could be wrong on this. I believe what I read was that he was the longest tenured position player in the history of the NFL.
Wow. In the history of the NFL?
Or maybe in the NFL today. Let me look that up. Hold on. Scratch that. Ignore me.
I think that's just current. Maybe just current. I'm
sorry. He was the longest
he played
non-quarterback
in the NFL for a long time.
I'm looking that up real quick. I swear I read. It doesn't matter. The point is Ted Ginn Jr., I was in 6th grade when they were playing in that national championship. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, like those things are not heard of in the NFL, like longevity like that. But in the NBA, like they play forever and they play for a long time. And even that, they're in the NBA so early. Like, think about it. Like, Kevin Durant was in the NBA at 19. He's like 33 years old now. You know what I'm saying? And like, he's looking like he's going to play even longer. I mean, look at Chris Paul. Chris Paul is 36, just signed a 4-year contract. He's probably going to play into his 40s.
Sorry, that position's a kicker. Kickers are the longest position. But anyway, so Ted Ginn retiring, he was the longest tenured active athlete outside of quarterbacks in the NFL. So that speaks volumes. Like, I forgot he was still in the NFL. But that's how long he had. It doesn't happen that long. So you have a short window. By the way, Chubb signed that extension. He'll be a free agent again at 29. He might have one more contract left in him before he just becomes a Beanie Wells type running back, where you're just the second option or a backup and Reggie Bush type running back that you just fill the void until your career's kaput. So it's interesting how that works.
I mean, football and basketball. We look at pro athletes like, oh man, he's so well conditioned. He's a supreme athlete. You go try playing football. 16 weeks. Let's see how you walk in 5 years. Like, people call it quits. Like, you know what? This ain't for me no more. Like, I mean, he went to Alter. The linebacker.
Oh, we just had him in studio. Played for
49ers.
Wisconsin.
Played for 49ers. Had a great rookie season.
God dang, he was just in the studio not too long ago.
Why am I saying Borland when I know it's not Borland? Is it Borland?
I think it's Borland.
Is it?
We're horrible local radio hosts. You are
Either-
listening to the worst local show in the history of local shows.
Either way, he was an outstanding college linebacker, had a heck of a rookie season, and said, you know what, I'm out.
And that had a lot to do with the concussions and everything
Right,
else, man.
yeah.
Like, it is what it is. So I don't know. But Chris Borland. So there
Chris
you go.
Borland.
There we go. See? There you go.
Related
Brad
to-
Mays coming through in the clutch. So shout out to B Mays again.
Where's Shaw?
Worst
when you need
local.
him?
I know. Shaw is supposed to be the virtual producer of the show. I fired him yesterday. That's why I think
that's what it was.
Brad May. Oh no, David Shaw, you came in late. Brad Mays is the new virtual producer of the show. He fills in the blanks when we get stuck on something. Shaw, you came up short. So there you go. But if it was, Shaw is like Shaw. So Brad Mays he's Joe Burrow in 7-on-7, and Shaw is Joe Burrow in 11-on-11. That's where we're at right now.
Oh, good.
But bottom
Step
line
up
is
in the pocket.
so Cowboys 49ers. Cowboys Steelers tonight, Hall of Fame game. It's a Hall of Fame game. It's a preseason game. It's actually viewed as less than a preseason game because isn't this an extra? So the Cowboys will play 4 preseason games while everyone else plays 3. Same thing with your Steelers.
Yeah. Mason Rudolph is getting the start tonight. They're talking about Dwayne Haskins going to play 2 quarters. So
But see, that's why I'm going to watch. Like, I'm interested.
I'll have it on in the background.
It's one of the few times I'll pull for Haskins and the Steelers is tonight.
Thanks.
Just saying. There you go. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash presented by Orion Sports Medicine. By the way, we have high school football coming up. Just a few weeks. The 20th.
The 20th.
The 20th. And Keith Byers and I will be bringing you our high school football game of the week each and every Friday.
That's in 2 weeks.
So 2 weeks. Oh my
2
goodness.
weeks
Yeah.
from tomorrow.
Those kids are out there busting their behinds. I'm happy for them. They're enjoying some nice weather right now. We're supposed to get some of that humidity and some of that high heat, high temps back later this week. So enjoy it while you can. But this is an exciting time for them. I was checking my Facebook memories a year ago at this time. I shared it was the breaking news that Trotwood had suspended all sports moving forward and didn't even know if they'd even play football at all. Luckily, they did. They started a little late, but we've got a couple Trotwood games on the air. Really cool just to see all them back out there, getting ready to kick off the season coming up here in a few weeks. And we're excited here at ESPN Dayton to be a part of another high school football game of the week season coming up around the corner. So we'll have more information. We'll reveal our schedule coming up around the corner as well. So we'll step away for a few moments. Kev is going to bring us our over-under. Dayton Flyers non-conference schedule is out. I'm always the first to find a reason to complain about Dayton scheduling. I actually don't have a problem with this. I know people right away are focusing and circling the bad teams on the schedule, but I say this about Alabama football all the time, and I'm not comparing Dayton to Alabama football by any means, but my point is every team out there puts bad teams on their schedule. Every team, every single team. And just because there's bad teams on the schedule doesn't mean you have to ignore the good teams on the schedule. I'm not a big fan of the philosophy of scheduling of how they do it, but there is a calculated method to what the Dayton Flyers do when they do put this schedule together. So we'll highlight some of the key matchups in the non-conference as well as some of the top home matchups to be looking for. The very first game for the Dayton Flyers will be Tuesday, November 9th, as they welcome in UIC out of, I think it's the Horizon. I think I know a team that plays in the Horizon. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know this. UIC is the closest team to the Flyers in the Horizon League. I know there's no other team in the Horizon that is closer to date. Oh, no, that's wrong too. In all seriousness, UIC is who the Flyers will open things up with on Tuesday, November 9th. But October 30th or November 1st, it'll be their first exhibition game, and that opponent is still to be determined. Over under coming up next, plus we'll take more of your calls. 518-1410. It's going to be tough to top what we just heard from Bob a little bit ago, who said that the Bengals, if Joe Burrow's healthy, could win 9 to 10 games. I'm sorry. Maybe it's the Bengal hater in me. Not happening. It's not happening, by the way. It's just not happening. But, we'll get back to ripping those who think the Bengals are going to win a lot of games at a later date. In all seriousness, I mean this as nicely as possible. I want Joe Burrow healthy, Kev. At the end of the day, I don't want I don't even like your Steelers. I don't want Big Ben injured. I want him out there. So when the Browns win, we could see him sitting on the bench with his hands in his hand warmers again, just staring at the ground, contemplating life, just considering life decisions. What's that? What?
We got 6 of them things.
Okay, you lost to the Browns in the playoffs.
Got
You
6
actually
of
lost to
them
the Browns back-to-back weeks.
6 of them things.
And you guys lost to the Bengals, all in that same little window of time, too. It's a tough December. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
6 of them things.
Over under next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Taking a Reds game from the Kroger bleachers for some fun in the sun this summer. Offering one of the best values at the ballpark, the Kroger bleachers are a great location to watch the action with family and friends while cheering on your Reds. Plus, you can take advantage of the Kroger meal deal at every game, which includes a hot dog, soft drink, chips, and a snack. Get your tickets today at Reds.com.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, you should move over. Red right return.
Right, red right return.
No, just red right return because
No, I'm saying red right return, but then right to agree.
Okay, but you're on the...
I should have said correct. I know it's red right return, but...
You're on the left and it's red right return. Red right return.
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive has you covered as a leader in boat insurance. Get a quote today at Progressive.com.
Oh, I was on the left. Right.
Please stop talking.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Hey, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We got Reds baseball tonight. Remember all you Reds fans that were super jacked and excited about, well, we may not be good, but we play a lot of bad teams, and that's our best chance of making the playoffs. By the way, I do think the Reds are pretty good. I think that's why I get so frustrated when their flaws cost them games, because I know how good they're capable of being. And it's frustrating that they addressed the bullpen at the trade deadline, and we're still seeing a lot of similar flaws post-trade deadline that we saw before that a lot of those names are supposed to fix. And those names aren't really the problem. The problem is that you got some durable arms that you can rely on, and yet David Bell's only giving him one inning at a time. I did like that they used Michael Lorenzen in more than one inning. I mean, you saw how good that worked out, right? Like they were able to get a win. So I'm hoping that we see more of that. David Bell's going to have to learn how to trust some of his veteran, experienced arms. Stop doing one pitcher per inning, and I get it. Not every situation is the same, but with David Bell, it almost is. One inning per night, no matter how good you look. I mean, like I said, Givens, the guy that got from the Rockies, I mean, my goodness, 2 of his 3 appearances, he strikes out the side and he's taken out right away. That's unacceptable.
It's enough out of you, buddy. If
the guy's rolling, let him keep going, because now it's one thing if you have the best bullpen in baseball and you have reliable arm after reliable arm, but right now it's a gamble every time you throw someone that's not a veteran out there, and that's the problem I have. So interesting nonetheless to see what happens. But the Reds, game 1 of a long series with the Pirates at Great American Ballpark kicks off tonight, 7:10 the first pitch, 6:40 the pregame, and we'll preview that. Nick Castellanos is back. Now, I see a lot of this. Everyone's like, man, Nick Castellanos is back. The Reds, I feel much better about them now. Offense isn't the problem. They haven't scored less than 4 runs in 2.5 weeks. Okay, the offense isn't the problem. Right now, it's all about, getting, for one, trying to limiting the runs to the opponent. And of course, it's those late game situations that the bullpen implodes. They've been up by 4 more runs in, I think, 3 of the last 4 games, and every game has come down to the last inning because they constantly almost blow it down the stretch. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Kev Nash? Kef. What up, Kef? Keffin. So Kev Nash hanging out with you here. But 518-1410, that's the number to call in. And here's a voice we have not heard in a long time. Let's go to him. I know you don't have the music queued up, which is fine. Hey, it's preseason, True American. How are you, sir?
What up, dude?
What up, dude? How are you?
I've been working, man.
That's a good. I thought you were tired. You're like Michael Jordan. You just can't keep the grades down, baby.
Not basketball, dude. Football, dude. I'm like Brett Favre. I retired, then I go back to work, then I come back. No, dude, I retired 1 month after January. I got bored and went back to work. And I'm working for one of your sponsors of the show.
Who?
So Napa.
Know-how. There you go.
We keep everybody's motor running, dude.
There you go. And you have a motor. You have motor mouth, and that motor mouth is geared up and ready to go.
Motor mouth now. I can back up the motor mouth, dude.
I don't doubt that at all.
Okay. Anyway, long story short, to get it out of the way real quick. No, I will not be watching the Hall of Fame game because America's team can kiss my ass, and the other team over in Pennsylvania, I know how I feel about them. So no, I've got a bunch of DVR recordings of the Browns. I'll watch that. I'll watch the game from last year when they put a spanking on Dallas. And also the games where the team over in Pennsylvania, I don't give them the respect of the name, so that's why I won't mention their name. But anyway, I've got my hand in the dirt, dude, and I'm ready for football. I'll be glad when all this baseball talk gets over. It's such a boring sport. Dude, I played baseball 1 year in Little League, and it sucked. I said, this ain't for me.
Actually, baseball would be way more entertaining if you played. I would kill to see you at the plate every day. Even if you struck out every time, you're still better than half them people, I guarantee you. And you're entertaining. You'd be fun to watch.
I'd probably throw the bat and break the bat, or throw it through the fence. Or
that's what I'm saying. That's good stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'd tune in. It's must watch.
Are you guys going to do the show this fall at Frickers or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know how.
So that starts the Sunday morning tailgate show. Will start on August 29th. It's the Sunday before Ohio State's kickoff that week. So August 29th.
I wish you guys could come down and do the remote at Ron's Pizza in Miamisburg because it's the second week of the season, and he has Leroy come into town, Leroy Kelly. And it's all Brown.
We just had him on the show not too long ago on Buyer's Show.
Hey, I've got a picture with him with his world championship ring. Me, the grandson, and the son. So yeah, class guy. I'll put him right there. You know, he led after Jim retired, Jim Brown, of course, the greatest running back ever. We all know that. I tried to make a trade with a Bengals fan that I know couple days ago. Since they're having so much turmoil like they always do. You know, they're down there playing in the Pop Warner League. They're never going to get out of that. So long story short, I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, man. Since, you know, they saw Joe Burrow here 2 or 3 months ago, walking downtown Cincinnati. Well, that must have been the next thing to Jesus walking on the water. They saw Joe Burrow walking. Whoop-de-damn-do. Anyway, long story short, you can have Case Keenum to start for you for the season and let Joe Mixon come up and run the ball a little bit behind that good offensive line. So, because he's never experienced one. So he probably wouldn't want to go back to Cincinnati, and I wouldn't want to blame him. Hey guys, I'll let you go. Somebody else call in. Go Browns.
Hey, real quick, are you still there? Did he drop?
He's gone.
Oh man, David Shaw was talking, but there's that Browns bark, baby. That's that passion right there. 518-1410, the True American. That's how you know football season is here, folks. The True American. We didn't have his music queued up. That was a fumble. That was a fumble on our part. We'll have the True American music ready. Mr. Know-It-All, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Get Mr. Know-It-All on the air. Bring him on. Mr. Know-It-All, how are you, sir? I heard you had a rough day on the golf course today.
Yes, I did, man. I'm telling you, I was talking about, bless Simone Biles' heart, but my golf game is similar to what she's going through right now. It's the twisties. It's all over the place. And but that really is a serious thing. And I know you guys are comparing Joe Burrow's mental state and Simone Biles. What it is, and I think you alluded to it, that it's much more dangerous what she goes through because she's doing multiple things in the air. And she has to think this process that quickly to make sure that her body is turning, to make sure her body is flipping all at the time it's supposed to so that she can land properly. If not, she could land any kind of way and not even know. So what the twisties is, her brain is going blank. She's, while she's in the air, and that's very dangerous.
And for those to give context to what you're talking about, Mr. Know-It-All, we opened up the show talking about, Joe Burrow, the concern about Joe Burrow's knee and how it's not as much physical as what it is mental, as Joe Burrow is trying to adjust to trusting the environment around him, of trusting all the moving bodies around him. Like he's not stepping into throws, and he just doesn't look as fundamentally sound as last season. Of course, we all know 7 months after that torn MCL, ACL, and all the surgically repaired stuff that had to be done to his knee just to get him to walk again. And so I was talking about how, Simone Biles was not given the benefit of the doubt when her mental health was in question, because she said, hey, when I'm up in the air, if I'm not able to complete what my mind wants me to do, my body's not letting me. So therefore, it's dangerous. I could fall on my head. People called her a quitter. Well, Joe Burrow's struggling because he's not able to fulfill what he's physically able to do because mentally he's concerned about people hitting his knee. So I was asking why we give Joe Burrow the benefit of the doubt and not Simone Biles, because they're basically the same thing. Two tremendous athletes who we know when they're mentally and physically right, what kind of talent that they possess. But when they're not mentally there, one we said she was a quitter and she let her team down. And the other one, we're saying anyone who criticizes him is a jerk because we need to understand that he's coming off of a knee surgery. So I just was questioning why we give him a pass and not her. But we've had some interesting discussions and phone calls with people about why they think that is. Mr. Know-It-All, the one thing I said is, honestly, I just think it's more familiarity with Joe Burrow and football, gymnastics. We become fans of it once every 4 years, at least the vast majority of us. I just think it's a simple lack of really knowledge of that sport and understanding what she does. I didn't really think about it till she talked about how she could break her neck if she tried to finish some of those routines. And then it really kind of, I started looking at it a little bit different.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the only reason I have a little bit of knowledge about it is because one of my daughters was a cheerleader and she had to go through, tumbling classes and all, how to learn how to flip and all that kind of stuff. And it really is a mental process that you have to go through. Now you see some little kids, they learn how to do it themselves, but it's still just like anything else. So when you're talking about doing it in front of hundreds of people and things of that nature, you're talking about you doing, at halftime, you'll see chilies where they'll flip the whole balance of a basketball court. They'll flip 90 feet. That's a routine that they have to practice over and over, and they have to go through some things mentally while they are in the air. So it's something beyond or not. But I do want to let's make sure we congratulate Kev Nash on this is my first time interacting with him, so he is officially now a part of the classroom. And Kev, if you don't know that I am Mr. Know-It-All, and when I call school class is in session, we have a graduate of Mr. Mark Slimmer. He graduated. Justin's the head of the class right now. He's making pretty good
teacher's pet.
Yeah, exactly. Who I want you to stay away from, Kev. Stay away from
Don't worry.
Stay away from Keith Byers, because I keep him in the corner in the dunk part, because he doesn't listen. He's hard-headed, but I try to keep I got him some extra tutors, some tutors outside of here, so, we try to keep him smart. But good show today, guys. I just pulled up the Trotwood, kind of watching them practice, because you mentioned them as I was headed this way. It is good to see them out here and watching them practice football. So it is good to see some of these, because we've kind of come a long way. We haven't come full circle, because it's still dangerous out here. I see, we're going to have to start back wearing masks again in some places. At where I played golf today, I was there yesterday. Same place I played today, I was there. You didn't have to wear the mask. Today, you have to. And I don't know if you want me to mention where I was. You know where I was, Justin. But because the course is owned by a municipality, yesterday when I was there, we
got 30 seconds.
Yeah, yesterday when I was there, we did not have to wear masks. But then the mayor came out and issued the ordinance today, and it turns out that they did have to wear the mask. So everybody stay safe out there, and class is over.
There you go. Class was in session. Class is out. Yeah, now that all these mask mandates might be coming back, it's interesting. The Sha'Carri Richardson thing, where everyone just follow the rules, and you don't have to be worried. I'm wondering how those people are feeling today. I'm just saying.
Rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules, except for, everyone out there, oh, she just followed the rules. Everything would be fine. You got to wear a mask. It's the rule. Screw the rules. Hour 3 next. Over Under with Kev Nash coming up.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
When will the danger become crystal clear? When you read another statistic? When it happens to your neighbor? When your family is shattered? When will you finally take action? Don't let another family's life fall to pieces due to the dangers of unsafe railroad crossings. Report bad railroad crossings at angelsontrack.org. That's angelsontrack.org. Because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and the station.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He's struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we welcome you back. Hour 3, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash is presented by Orion Sports Medicine. So some reports came out today that Deshaun Watson could potentially be traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I have so many issues with this because here's the problem I have. With everything going on surrounding Deshaun Watson, the number one headline that outlets are running with when it comes to him is where he could be traded to. Not that he has 20 plus women accusing him of sexual misconduct. Now, look, if it ends up coming out that all 20 plus women, it was all collusion. They all came together to try to shake him down. Then you know what? They'll say, okay, my bad. And I'm not saying that he's done anything, but we can't. We don't have to say he has done anything. But what we can't do is say that he's done nothing. Right. And I just think that there's no leadership in this whatsoever. How in the world the Texans haven't just said, yeah, until I mean, good for Major League Baseball. They've just come out and they have been the ones that have said, yeah, Bauer, you're sitting this one out. You keep getting paid, whatever. You're sitting this one out until this gets resolved. I just don't get how the NFL doesn't have that in place and why the Texans haven't tried to take the lead in that. It's not like the Texans and him have been a unified front to begin with.
Right.
Like they've been he wanted a trade before all of this stuff came out. So I have no clue why he's still showing up. I mean, you have the reporters out there. Oh, Deshaun Watson looks good throwing in camp. Oh, no one cares about how he looks throwing the football in camp.
Breaking news, he always looks good throwing the football.
Is he going to be teammate? Is he going to be, in Philadelphia, or is he going to be on the longest yard with Adam Sandler and Burt Reynolds? I have no clue what his future holds as far as his next football team. We know it's not the Texans. Why they're even letting him out there? When their coach came out and said that he's not a distraction, he's been a true professional. I agree. He's been a true professional. Doesn't mean he hasn't been a distraction. That's the only thing people are talking about. But reporters, I do find it weird. Those reporters jump on a lot of different things. There's a lot of things that surround Deshaun Watson. And I can't believe that the one thing that reporters are grabbing and running with is, oh, he might be traded to the Eagles. I don't care about that. And they said how there's one little holdup in this whole thing. Oh, gee, I wonder what that one holdup is. Might be 22 holdups as far as I'm concerned. I just find this whole thing to be fascinatingly dumb. Like I don't care. I don't want him traded. I don't want him going anywhere. I just want to know what happened here. And my opinion of him is not good or bad. It's just I don't want an opinion on him. I just don't want it. I just want this resolved so we can move forward with what's next. But I feel uncomfortable talking about, man, I think Deshaun Watson makes the Eagles immediate division leaders right there. I mean, I think he could be an MVP. That's reckless if we're going to have those conversations with everything going on right now.
Absolutely. Another thing about the whole Deshaun Watson situation off the field, I was reading a report that he's willing to settle out of court with all of the victims, all 22 or 21 or whichever one it is. There's a lot. But he doesn't want them to sign what is it called?
Non-disclosure?
Yeah, he wants it to be out there in the public. So that's a pretty bold statement for him to say, because most of the time when, famous people have situations like this and they, for lack of a better term, pay people off, they want, all right, we're going to pay you. You can't talk about it anymore. But he's willing to pay them. But, hey, man, basically he's going to want to tell his side of the story once this is all said and done and have their names out there as well. So I find that strange, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or anything like that, but it's pretty eye-opening to say, like, hey, all right, I'll give you your money, but I'm going to be able to talk about it once this is all said and done. And to my knowledge, none of the ladies involved has said okay to this situation. So this thing ain't going to end soon. And the other part about it, the Texans, and we talked about this before about the incompetence that's going on. And I believe when the first reports came out, they said, yeah, they're willing to listen to trade offers. It was just like, man, you're willing to listen to trade offers after all this? Like, you could have got a king's ransom if you traded him beforehand, and then things would have came out. Then that would have been the Rams problem, the Broncos problem. But now when you eventually do trade him to, maybe it's Philadelphia, maybe it's the Broncos or whomever he gets traded to, you're going to get pennies on a dollar for his value. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be saying the exact same thing you're saying. Like, yeah, we'll make a trade for you, but I don't know if he's going to be playing for us or not. So those 3 first-round picks that we were going to give you, how about 3 third-rounders? How about a third rounder and seven rounders? You're not going to get what you could have got before. So this whole thing is a mess. It's a mess. Everything that's going on with Deshaun Watson off the field, obviously, that's number one. Number two, the leadership inside the Texans organization are boneheads, and they're continually to show that they're boneheads by not only this, but also parading him out there as you're actively trying to trade him. Like, look, nobody's wishing injuries upon people, but injuries happen. Injuries happen in practice all the time. So if you're looking to trade him, why would you have him out there? Just say, hey, man, we're going to sit you out. You go work out on your own, stay in shape. We'll let you know when you can come in and we can discuss further trading and everything like that. And then more, you keep on putting the first-time head coach out there in front of the media, continually being asked questions about Deshaun Watson. Where is the GM? Because the coach don't trade the player. The GM trades the player. So they've been a debacle from start to finish. And then Deshaun threw the cherry on top with his off the field situation. So this thing has been a train wreck.
Yeah, Bengals fans, I apologize. I have been dead wrong when I have said that your organization is the biggest joke in football. Second biggest. You've moved up on my list. Okay, you're no longer the worst. But this whole thing's a mess. And the Eagles, I guess it makes sense. The Eagles organization has always been an organization that's willing to take a chance on a guy that has a tarnished reputation. They did it with Michael Vick, and that was a mess as well. And I know second chances and blah blah blah. But I mean, when you read the reports of what Michael Vick did, and those are things he actually did. He drowned dogs. All right. He put dogs who would not win in a dog fight. He drowned in a pool. It's a disgusting thing. He actually did those things. We know for a fact he did those things, and they brought him in. The NFL has a history of overlooking these personality flaws and these mistakes that these guys make, because as long as they can make money, that's all they care about. David Shaw says NFL cares more about the vaccine and masks more than a player being accused of sexual assault. And that's one way to put it. But Shaw, basically what the NFL is saying with this is all they care about is their money. Players being accused of sexual assault, and I'm not making light of this because it's gross, but that's not costing the NFL money.
Right.
Players not wearing masks, that can cost them money. Not getting vaccinated, that can cost them money. Missing games. So I know what you're saying, Shaw, and I agree. That's what the perception is. The perception is they care more about masks and vaccines than they do about sexual assault. I'm not saying that they don't care about sexual assault, but hey, your actions speak louder than words. And they're not doing anything about this. Now, again, Deshaun Watson he will. If they come out and say he's not guilty of everything, there's a good chance he still could be suspended because he violated the conduct policy or whatever the heck that is. So the bottom line is yes, the NFL looks bad here because they're losing their minds over the masks and the vaccines, which they should be giving attention to that, not just the NFL, every business out there. That's just the times that we're living in, dealing with a global deadly pandemic, bottom line. But the NFL taking this hard stance on the pandemic, they're not taking a stance because they're morally, they're on moral high ground. And Roger Goodell is not, oh, you need to get your vaccine. COVID, it's so bad. Oh, we got to get vaccinated. We got to wear a mask. Come on, guys. We got to do what's best for our neighbor. Love thou neighbor, whatever the hell it is. I'm so bad, by the way. I can't believe I just said that. My fault.
Lightning bolts, bro.
I was on a roll. My bad. My point is that I'm not giving the NFL credit for pretending to be on this moral high ground of doing what's right for the pandemic. They're doing what's right for them. They know that players getting vaccinated and players wearing masks, it slows down, it eliminates, or at least it definitely, decreases the risk of the spread of the virus, which allows games to be played. They know if they didn't mandate this or guilt players into getting this, that they would be moving a lot of games and risking not getting through a full season. They were lucky enough to get through it last year. All they care about is money. And Deshaun Watson being accused by 22, 32, 42, or 102 women of sexual assault, that's not costing the NFL money. So, of course, they're not looking at it right now. The NFL, how many years of them being ripped for the handling of Colin Kaepernick did it take before they finally addressed the media and said, we were wrong? Because sponsors started pulling. The second sponsors started supporting Kaepernick and pulling their money, then all of a sudden Roger Goodell cared about race relations. He was silent before then, but the second his money was impacted, then he cared about race relations, right? It's the same thing here. He's not losing sleep about Deshaun Watson being accused by 22 women of sexual misconduct. But if sponsors started pulling, saying you're supporting this by allowing him to be playing, even though, there's this investigation going on, then Roger Goodell would release some sappy, dumb video of how he really cares about that topic. I'm not making light of that topic, folks, just to reiterate, but it's true. The NFL has a history of pretending to care about things that only impact their bottom dollar. They don't have this moral compass that they are holier than thou. It's an absolute mess. I don't say this often. I give baseball credit. I know it could be messed up that if Trevor Bauer really didn't do anything and he's missed out an entire season and all that, it is unfortunate. But it's better to come out being wrong on that side of it than by letting him play and make all that money and being the face of the Dodgers and then find out he did do it and you've just been parading him out there all season. I think baseball is doing the right thing with Bauer. I think the NFL is a mess right now with this Deshaun Watson thing. But the vaccines and with everything going on with the pandemic, that's why we're not hearing as much about Deshaun Watson. On any given offseason, Deshaun would be the face of all the negative coverage coming out of the NFL. But we don't care about that because we're worried about, man, are the players vaccinated? Are they going to wear masks? Are they going to get to play? Yeah, Deshaun Watson, he raped 22 women. Yeah, that's fine. But what about the mask? Are they wearing the mask? Because I want to watch football. I'm not making light of that situation. That's just the reality of what's going on right now, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, the NFL, they don't want to have to deal with they deal with last year. The Ravens juggling around games, the Titans juggling around games, some teams playing 3 games in 13 days and everything like that, getting hassled from their media partners from CBS and NBC and ESPN, everything like that. They don't want to deal with that. They want their precious schedule to be on time, and they did everything in their power to make sure it was going to be that way, and they're pushing the players to get vaccinated and wear masks and everything like that, so much to the point where they're putting out fines and everything like that. So yeah, you're right that it's all about the money, like it's always going to be. It's always going to be all about the money, just like it's. But see, the difference between the NFL and college football is the NFL lets you know that it's really all about the money. They're never hiding it. When you have ownership like Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft, who basically tell you it's all about the money and everything like that, there's no secret to that. And I think fans are smart enough to know that it's all about the money. I mean, like you just talked about how Deshaun Watson, if this wasn't for the pandemic that we're in, would be the number one topic every single day. Well, think back to the Ray Rice situation. The video comes out and everything like that. He was the topic number one. And Ray Rice was a running back. We all know this is a quarterback league. Everybody looks at the quarterback as the leadership position, the face of the league. Like Ray Rice was a running back in the league, but he was headline news. Could you imagine if we weren't in COVID, how much Deshaun Watson would we be talking about? It would be.
He was being talked about all the time. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson. Boom. All day, every day. Latest on Deshaun. I mean, think about it. Like, it's not crazy. It's the reality. But I'm with you. I think the NFL does need to call up to Texas and say, hey, man, you got to sit this dude down until we can get some type of clarity, just like they're doing with the MLB situation. Like, this is a bad look. This isn't, RIP to him, but you can't do what you did back in the NBA with Kobe Bryant when he dealt with his situation. You can't have a dude flying from court and then flying to the Staples Center to play a basketball game. Like, this ain't then, man. This ain't the early 2000s where that was just, it is what it is. Nah, it ain't is what it is. Like, this is a very serious matter that's going on with Deshaun Watson off the field. So the NFL, man, y'all just know how to do y'all business, man. And
I know this sounds weird, but like, my thing is this, and with everything that's gone on over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've gotten this thing where, like, if businesses don't come out with a statement on something, we think they support that. Like, if they don't have a statement on Black Lives Matter, that business is racist, right? Like, it's like businesses started feeling like they had to release a statement, and not just racism, but like stances on domestic violence, on racism, on anything. It's like, I always got frustrated. Like, this was brought up about Jerry Jones all the time, and my big thing is people were getting so caught up, and you and I had these discussions. You were even saying that, you were noticing Jerry Jones wasn't coming out and making a statement on anything, and that you noticed that. Now, I didn't notice that, but then I noticed it because people were bringing it up. But my big question was, does Jerry Jones commenting on Black Lives Matter or the pandemic or on Colin Kaepernick, does that matter? Are we all going to sleep better at night because Jerry Jones comes out and says something? I don't believe. I'm trying to get to the point to where I don't let my emotional investments. I don't like to invest that into guys that I don't know or care about. Like Jerry Jones is the owner of a team that I like. And I'm not saying that if he is a full-blown racist that I would support him by any means. No, but it got to the point where we were trying to demand that certain businesses come out and say things to just, I guess, reassure us, I guess.
Right.
And the NFL, I'll give them this, and I'm not supporting their stances on things, but they stick to their guns. And we hate that, but they stick to their guns one way or another. And I don't think that the NFL is racist or that they support domestic violence, but at the same time, they don't take advantage of their platform to try to speak out on things as much as what they should, considering the money that comes in, the eyeballs that are on their product, and that type of thing. We said the same thing about the SEC last year when it came to COVID. You know, honest to goodness, to me, you look at the Big Ten. I thought that the Big Ten handled it properly. I know I'm in the minority on that, but when you look at Commissioner Kevin Warren coming out and saying, yeah, we're just not going to play because there's just too many unknowns, and we don't want to be, one death is too many deaths. If a player, dies from this, we don't want to, one death is too many. And I believe that was the right thing to do. He kind of erred on the side of caution. But then you had the SEC that said, we're, you want to play. If you don't. But we're going as is. The problem is we all want to ride on this moral compass, but at the end of the day, if you ride that moral compass, sometimes you're left behind. It's not right, but that's the reality. The Big Ten tried to ride the moral compass of doing the right thing, and now look, the SEC is just. We knew it was a bigger, better conference from a revenue standpoint before. Now it's not even a question. And it's because the conferences that tried to do the right thing and they tried to appease the masses, the SEC said, meep, meep, coming through. And look at now. They got Texas.
I think those other people are the masses, to be perfectly honest.
The other people being who?
The other people wanting their football, just wanting to be regular still and everything like that. Trying to, quote unquote, do what's best for everybody. I think those people are in the minority and everything like that. We talked about how, Jerry Jones in that situation, but also, us talking it out, we both came to the realization that, someone speaking about it and someone actually doing actions are two totally different things. So what would you rather do? Your company that you work for make a statement, or your company put their money where their mouth is and actually do something about it and be involved in situations? So that's what we worked out. I don't know, but that's kind of like the realization and the discussion that we had last summer when everything was going on is like, well, he can make a statement, but what is he going to do? A statement is just a bunch of words on a piece of paper. We've seen so many companies tweet out things and that was it. We've seen companies do a one-time program and that was it. All right, we did our thing, now back to normal. We ain't doing nothing else. When you take a stance on, systemic racism or, violence against women and everything like that, it's a continual thing. It isn't just a one-time statement on a piece of paper and everything like that. So, you're right. We can't necessarily look to famous people, rich people to make statements and then expect everything to be okay and everything like that. We as people need to more or less do action as opposed to waiting for somebody rich and famous to tell us all right, yeah, it's okay to do this, or yeah, here's my backing. I support this matter. We don't need that. We need action as opposed to just statements on pieces of paper or on Twitter or on Instagram.
Yeah. And, and I always, this analogy here, I was thinking about this the other day. The things that we say we're offended by, and then we draw a line with stuff. But for instance, and you work on Hot 102.9. There are certain rules of certain songs that you guys can carry, and there has to be the clean version.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the clean version edits out all the bad stuff, but it doesn't take away the context of the song, right? So if you actually listen to the words of a lot of music, there's a lot, the moral compass in those songs. I don't know how you could support those songs if we're going to be, got to do what's right. How you could support, but we compartmentalize everything. And that's where I was coming out with that. I'm like, okay, just be who you are. We bleep it out because we have to.
Right.
But overall, we don't bleep it out because we're offended by the words of the song. We bleep it out because we have to. And that's why when it comes to demanding that businesses come out and voice their opinion on this, the NFL is getting ripped for this. We're talking about it and stuff like that. But it's do I believe that they condone it? No. but I also noticed that they're not doing anything about it. A local example, I'm not going to say the name of this company, but there was a local company that everyone in all the media markets in this town came together and said, we're not airing their ads anymore. Mm-hmm. And I rolled my eyes at that because I go, oh, stop. Because it wasn't one thing that this company did to get everyone to come together on this. This company had been voicing their opinion on certain things in a very drastic way for quite some time. It wasn't a secret of how this company operated. And then because Cox and some of the other companies in town did not want to be viewed in a negative light, they tried to act like they cared about this stuff and come together and put out these graphics and say, oh, we just do not condone those types of comments and views and actions, and therefore we are no longer going to air those ads. Well, guess who's airing those ads? But it wasn't genuine. They didn't care about those things. They just did it because they wanted to appease people and act like they were, hey, guys, we're with you. We're right there. We're with that. We stand with everybody. But then, the green of the money became too important. And then now those ads are being aired again, which whatever. Business is business. My point about that is I think businesses sometimes just need to put their foot down like the NFL and say, yeah, look, we don't condone it, but we're not going to come to a complete halt for this. We got to keep trucking along. And we saw that the businesses that kept trucking along throughout all this, unfortunately, the moral compass doesn't always lead you in the most profitable direction. And it's certain sacrifices that certain, conferences and leagues make. And we all saw who came out on top. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just kind of where this conversation led us coming out of the Deshaun Watson conversation. I promise you, Kev Nash will bring us over under on the other side of the break. How about this over under? Be thinking about some of these during the break, guys. Lamar Jackson, over under 3,900 passing yards for Lamar Jackson, a revamped wide receiving core, over under 3,900 passing yards for Lamar Jackson. We know he can make plays with his legs. He's an MVP. We know he can win you games. But is there an extra level of Lamar Jackson that we haven't seen yet? We're going to find that out this year. How about Quinn Ewers? Quinn Ewers skips his senior season of high school football in Texas, and now he is ready to compete for some PT in Columbus for the Buckeyes. Over under 1.5 snaps for Quinn Ewers as the Buckeye quarterback this coming up season. Over under. We'll get to all of that. Way more than just those two. That's all coming up. Be thinking about a couple of those during the break. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast: low tonight of 65, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow high of 87 and partly cloudy. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
The JCPenney Mystery Sale is back. How much will you save? Shop Thursday through Sunday, and you could get an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off with in-store coupon giveaway. Save on brands like Arizona and Exertion. Plus, discover our new kids brand, Thereabouts. Styles designed with every kid in mind. Plus, shop extended store hours, smart shopping, and surprise savings. JCPenney. Offer valid 8/5 to 8/8. Giveaway in stores only. While supplies last. Must be 18 or older. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the US that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back, baby back. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We'll help you find everything you need to do the job right. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Heard you're buying a car. I brought my calculator.
Dad, I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly, instead of all that.
You know those things impact your credit score.
Didn't impact my credit score, Dad. Now I'm going to the dealership for a test drive and to make the purchase.
Sounds too easy.
No, it's just easy. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Can you name the 3 habits of healthy hygiene? We shower, we brush our teeth, and we... Wait a minute. What third habit? Think about it. The pandemics reminded us that the nose is your body's filter against a constant invasion of airborne germs. Your nose traps allergens, bacteria, and viruses, but like any filter, the more it's clogged up, the less it works. Now it's easy to clean your nose with Navage. My name's Martin Hoke, and I did not invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years, but I did invent Navage to make nasal irrigation an easy habit for everyone. Navage uses powered suction to flush out germs that cause congestion, or worse, can make you very sick. People love Navage. It has 4.7 stars with over 70,000 online reviews. And over 2 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. Go to Navage.com or find Navage at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and select Walmarts. Make cleaning your nose your third habit. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
I wish we could air what we talk about during the break.
Oh, they got to pay for that type of content.
Would we get that? Probably not.
No, they got Twitch channels, you know.
Yeah, that's all we need is more access to what Kenner says off the mic. I was hanging out with some friends last night, and a couple of them asked me, like, how do you not swear on the air and all that stuff? I'm like, swearing's the least of my concerns. I run my mouth so much. I'm a gossiper. It's not a good thing, by the way. I'm a gossiper. I love drama for whatever reason. Like, I'm, it is what it is. That's my downfall. That will be my downfall. Like, if I, just saying. But there you go. Drama make. If my life's peaceful, it's not fun to me.
We're just total opposite. Well, considering what's going on with my car, you would love it.
But
you would love what's going on with me and my car.
But it would be resolved quickly. It doesn't mean it would end, but anyways, it is what it is. But it's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Kev Nash brings us over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right, Kev, we threw this one out just as a teaser before the commercial break. And by the way, 518-1410. We'll get to your calls coming up immediately following over under. But we are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. So we'll throw out the over unders and you give your answers in the chat section and we'll bring them in. The first one involves Lamar Jackson. I don't know why I almost said Lamar Odom. I've never even thought of Lamar Odom in quite some time. But Lamar Jackson is part of our very first over-under today, Kev.
Yes, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson threw for over 2,700 yards last season, added an extra 1,000 yards on the ground. Over or under 3,900 total yards for the former MVP, Lamar Jackson.
So I screwed up. I misread that before the break. I had said over under 3,900 passing yards, which I still think we could do 2 for 1 there. You said total or over under 3,900 total yards between passing and rushing. He threw for 2,700 yards last year, 2,757 to be exact. Rushed for over 1,000 yards. I'll take the over on that because I still think you're going to get the same amount in the ballpark of the same amount of rushing yards and maybe a little less. But I think if he gets less rushing yards, it'll be made up for in more passing yards. Sammy Watkins, they added some good receivers. I like who they got in the draft. And the good point, Keith Tolliver in the chat section said extra game. There's an extra game this year.
Stop stealing my takes, man.
Oh, yeah, my fault. Real quick, so to get to mine, I'm going to take the over because I do think we're going to see an improvement in the passing game just because he has more options and I think he has more weapons. I'm not convinced just based on what we've seen of his throwing motion and other things, at least up to this point. And people work on things in the offseason all the time, so who knows? But I'm going to say over because I think he's going to throw for more yards. I think we'll get about the same rushing yards from him. He has more weapons to work with, but I still think he's going to have flaws in the passing game. I'm just curious. We might see an increase in interceptions. I just think the more you drop him back to throw, the more bad things can happen. And maybe he gets under this because by continuing to run, the more he's in the league, the more hits he's taking. It's not a good thing. So one of two things is going to happen. They're going to, try to keep him from running as much because he has more passing weapons now, and they're going to drop him back more and try to contain him a little bit. And then that's going to lead to more interceptions and just not a smooth flowing offense. Or they're going to continue to let him run, and I think the physicality is going to catch up with them. I'm going to say over, but I'm still not sold that he's all of a sudden this well-rounded player. I still think he's going to have flaws passing game-wise, but I'm going to take the over on the 3,900 total yards between passing and rushing.
I'm going to go with the over as well. You talked about the wide receivers, Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins, Rashad Bateman, the rookie wide receiver out of Minnesota. Can't forget about Dobbins in the backfield. Gus Edwards is in the backfield. I'm going to go with the over as well, but I'm going a little different. I'm going to say he has a ton of passing yards. I'm saying he's going to throw for 3,500 passing yards, and he's going to be under 1,000 yards rushing this year. I think they're really going to rely on the actual running backs. I think they're going to be running that zone read action, but that's not necessarily him pulling the ball. I think they're really going to rely on Gus Edwards and Dobbins to do a boatload of the running and things like that, and use Lamar on those short yardage situations, use the zone read on those short options to give themselves another option. Running the zone read on first down, I don't think they're really going to be doing that no more. I think they'll be back to the, hey, if it's first down, let's just run it with the running back and just save, quote unquote, Lamar for when you need him on the edge and those type of things. But I do think he's going to throw for over 3,500 yards passing this season. So I'm going to go with the over in total yards for Lamar Jackson.
I like Marquise Brown. I like Sammy Watkins. And honestly, Rashad Bateman. I think he's big time. I think he's going to be really, really good. And but again, I do think it's a little telling that free agent wide receivers were not flocking to go to Baltimore. And let's be clear, Baltimore, All they do is win. They win double-digit games every year. They win that division every year. You're a lock to go to the playoffs. Juju Smith took less money to go back to Pittsburgh, where they might be battling it out for last place with the Bengals at the bottom. Might, okay? I'm just saying, just because that roster's older. I think I'm not talking smack. I just think the reality
it's all
is
good, baby.
Juju Smith. So he took less money to go back to Pittsburgh. He took less money. He could have gone to Kansas City. So people tried defending that, saying, well, technically he was comfortable in Pittsburgh. He went back to Pittsburgh because he's comfortable there. He didn't slight Baltimore because honestly he turned down playing with Patrick Mahomes. Well, my argument on that was the fact that he wanted to go back to Pittsburgh. Well, he will most likely be the number one target in Pittsburgh. So by being the number one target in Pittsburgh means he's going to have more targets, more pass attempts thrown his way. He's going to have more yards, more touchdown opportunities. And I think that sets him up to get that big money next offseason, to where had he gone to Kansas City, he might be the third option as far as that's concerned, because you obviously have Hill, and then you have your tight end, of course, in Kelsey, and now maybe he's the third option there. Less attempts thrown his way, less opportunities for touchdowns and large gains. So I just think that this made more sense for him to go to Pittsburgh, where he knows he's going to be targeted a lot because he was targeted a lot in seasons before that. So that's where I'm at. I'm concerned about the offense for Baltimore, mainly because of the division, Kev. Like, we can argue all day about how good will the Bengals be, how good will the Steelers be, how good will the Browns be, but one thing is the secondary for the Steelers, really, really good. It took a hit losing Hilton, but Hilton's still in the AFC North. He's with the Bengals. Bengals, they revamped their secondary. They have 3 really good secondary weapons, and they're going to be tough. And then, of course, the Cleveland Browns, they go out and they get 2 of the biggest weapons from the Rams, who had the best passing defense last year because of their secondary, and they already had depth at that position to begin with. They just weren't healthy last year. So, Kev, that's why I'm going to say I'm not confident in the over as far as the passing is concerned. I just think it's going to be very difficult for Lamar Jackson to dominate in the pass game just because of what's around him. 2 games against Pittsburgh, 2 against the Browns, and even 2 against the Bengals. A lot of great secondary that he'll be going after. We'll stay in the AFC North. Kev Nash brings us over under. Let's talk about your dude, Big Ben.
Yes, sir. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger threw for 3,800 yards and was 5th in the NFL in passing TDs with 33. With the return of Juju, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and adding first-round running back Najee Harris to the mix, over or under 25 passing TDs for the future Hall of Famer.
And again, I hate this argument. I hate when people say, well, it all depends on health. From now on, when we're talking about the projections of Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield and Big Ben and Lamar and everything, I'm going to throw health out the window all the time. Even with Burrow coming off that injury, every time we project how good a quarterback is going to be, we're projecting that those numbers are going to happen because he's healthy. Injuries are part of the game. Injuries can happen, but we can't foresee when they're going to happen. We don't know when they're going to happen. We don't know if they'll even happen. We've been saying for 3 years now that Lamar Jackson can't play this way because he's going to get hurt. And guess what? The mofo, the only time he's been taken out of a game was to go poop. All right? So I'm just saying, we got to stop with this injury talk. It's just about what they're capable of doing when they're on the field. I'm going to take the over on this. Big Ben, I got really irritated last year, and I can't believe I was defending him. I don't think he was great, but I think he was pretty damn great considering the responsibility that was thrown on him because they didn't have a good O-line and not a very good run game. It was Big Ben or nothing. It was his arm or nothing. So the fact that at his age, coming off of an injury the year before, by the way, to throw the ball, I think the 5th or the 3rd or 4th most times he had the most pass attempts last year of anybody. To be his age, coming off of a season-ending injury the year before, to lead the league in pass attempts and throw for as many yards as he did, he threw for 33. Maybe he doesn't throw for as many because the run game will be improved, but I still think he surpasses 25 touchdowns. I'm going to take the over, Kev. I think he throws more than 25 passing touchdowns this upcoming season.
I'm going with the over as well. He's going to throw for a nice round 30 touchdowns. And the big thing about what Big Ben is going to be able to do this season is I think those shot plays are going to be there again. Like you talked about before, he's coming off the injury last year. Well, now he's 2 years removed from the injury and the surgery and everything like that. He had Tommy John surgery. You know what I'm saying? So when a pitcher comes off of it and has a rough year, everybody says, oh, well, he came off of Tommy John surgery. Well, he had a pretty good year for somebody coming off of Tommy John surgery who is an injury that you don't see too often in football. So he's going to be another year removed from that. He's going to have the big play receivers there again. And now they revamped the offensive line. They got a young running back. So I think there's going to be a lot of shot plays. The short passing game, the RPOs that they were trying to run last year, it was working, and then it just stopped working. The DB said we're squatting on everything because they refused to take shots deep down the field. Was that Big Ben's arm? Was that the play calling? Well, we're going to find out. But I think that they're going to take more shot plays down the field, leading to more explosive plays in the passing game. So I'm going to go with the over for 25 passing TDs for Big Ben.
Yeah, and I thought he played, and everyone said, well, look, he was worn down by the playoffs. Yeah. Again, his age, asking him to throw the ball more than anybody else in the league. That'll by the way, that'll do it to a healthy Joe Burrow. That'll wear down at Baker Mayfield. But to be honest, though, the Bucs, we thought that they were going to take it easy on Tom Brady. He was, I think, the third or fourth most pass attempts last year. They didn't take it easy on him. So the bottom line is Tom Brady, though, could throw that much, but also balance it out with the run game, and he had help. It was Big Ben's arm. That was the only chance they had of winning anything. And as injuries started piling up, it just became more difficult. Stay in the AFC North this time. We got Baker Mayfield, who's on deck.
The Browns are known for their power running game with that tough offensive line, and Nick Chubb, who just signed a new contract. Shouts out to Nick Chubb. But Baker Mayfield was red hot the second half of the season. Baker passed for over 3,500 yards, adding 26 touchdown passes. So over under 3,800 passing yards for the former Heisman Trophy winner.
Over under 3,800 passing yards. I'm taking
OBJ, Jarvis. What's up, Kenner? What's up?
This will be way over, and this isn't a homer take. Look, he threw for 3,500 yards last year, and that includes the beginning half of the season when he wasn't even throwing for more than 25 times a game. He had 4 games under 200 passing yards last year. He had 1 game where he barely passed 100 total yards passing in a game, and he still threw for 3,500. And when you look at the second half of the season, he had the only 2 quarterbacks that had more yards, more touchdowns, and a higher QBR in the second half was Patrick Mahomes and the MVP, Aaron Rodgers. So in the second half of the season, only 2 other quarterbacks threw for more yards and threw for more touchdowns and had higher QBRs, and that was Patrick Mahomes, who's on pace now to be one of the best ever, and another all-time great in Aaron Rodgers, who would go on to win the MVP. I'm going to take way over on this. Now, does this mean that it opens the door to being vulnerable to more interceptions? Absolutely. But Baker threw the ball a lot last year, despite some of those, low pass attempt games. And then he even had those stretches where, like, against the Raiders, and I forgot the other opponent that they played, where it was just really crappy weather. The Texans. And they were low scoring games. They were hideous, ugly games. Both quarterbacks for both teams could not throw. You had to run because the wind and the rain was so bad in both. So there were so many games last year that Baker didn't even look like a real quarterback. At one point, I said to trade him. Remember, Kev? I was getting irritated. I was like, they're only letting him throw 25 times. That means he's not the guy. Go get Matt Ryan if he's available. My opinion completely changed, obviously, because what I wanted is what ended up happening. They opened it up, and he became more comfortable as the season went along. So I'm going to take the over. Again, he threw for 3,500 yards last year, completed 305 of his 486 pass attempts for 62%. I think we're going to see an increase in all of those numbers, including interceptions. I just think by dropping him back more, I think they're going to trust him to be more aggressive in the offense. I think that's going to make him vulnerable to some turnovers, Kev. I think we'll see an increase in turnovers as well, but I don't think it's going to be an alarming amount. It won't be ESPN's 30 for 30 Jameis Winston, 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions from 2 years ago.
I'm going to go with the under, and I'm going to go with
Ron said I'm an idiot, by the way, so whatever that means.
Shouts out to Ron. I'm going to go with the under, and the under for this reason only. I think the Browns are really going to rely on the run game. They just signed Nick Chubb. Obviously, they have Kareem Hunt as well. But just because he doesn't throw for 3,100 yards doesn't mean he's not going to be efficient. I think he's going to be far more efficient in the passing game. And I know it sounds crazy, and it's almost like the injury thing. Like, you can't predict the injury. You can't predict the weather. Well, let me tell you this. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. The weather there is trash after Halloween. And just like we saw 2 games at home for the Browns last year, you couldn't pass the ball. Neither team could pass the ball in those matchups. So even the great Deshaun Watson, who completed 70% of his passes on the season leading the NFL had a bad passing game, like accuracy-wise. But what I think we're going to see out of Baker Mayfield is he's going to take a jump in his completion percentage. I'm thinking Baker's going to be near that 70% mark passing percentage this year. So I'm going to go with the under on the yards, but I think his passing percentage, completion percentage is going to be way up there.
All right. Again, AFC North edition of this with the Buckeye twist as well. No, not Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow is next on deck.
Absolutely.
On deck. My God, learn to talk, Kenner. Joe Burrow's up next. Over under. Well, we'll talk about his completion percentage here, Kev.
Yeah, Joe Burrow definitely had his ups and downs of the last season. The downs, obviously, a season-ending knee injury in Week 10 versus the Washington football team. But Joe Burrow was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL last year, completing 65% of his passes. So over or under 69% completion percentage for the former number one overall pick, Joey B.
I'm going to say under, but slightly. I'll just say just a little bit under. I think he's going to have a rough start. Not a rough start like he's going to play bad, but I don't think he's going to be pinpoint accurate to start. Mainly for all the things we just talked about. He's still trying to trust his knee a bit. Now, I know I said earlier, don't account for injuries. I'm not saying this is an injury to me means missing games, and that's why your numbers are low. Maybe he could miss some games. I don't know. But my point is when he is out there, I think it's going to be a pattern throughout. The yips, considering his knee, that's not going to disappear here in the coming weeks or even the coming months, maybe. I mean, Carson Palmer and some others said it takes 18 months to 2 years plus sometimes before the fear of hurting your knee again kind of goes away after major knee surgery like that. So I think that as the season goes on, he'll get more comfortable. But early on, I think he's going to underthrow and maybe overthrow some receivers. I think it's going to be up to Zach Taylor how they run the offense. Maybe don't give him so many deep pass attempts down the field. Maybe just allow him to drop back, couple, quick drop backs, quick releases, get rid of the ball quickly, that type of thing. Maybe then the passing percentage will be up. But I still think he's going to miss some easy targets early on, just being uncomfortable. Because I also don't think he's going to get much time in the preseason games. And there's only so much you could simulate in practice, and I think that it's going to be a slow start for him as far as looking comfortable. So I'm going to say under. That's not me talking smack. I just think because of the situation, although he does have better weapons, a slightly revamped offensive line, Jamar Chase does make things interesting when you have Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. T. Higgins apparently is impressing a lot of people. They're saying he took a major jump from his rookie season to now. He's going to have more weapons. But at the same time, I just think that knee is going to kind of keep him from being very accurate and comfortable in the pocket. So I'm going to say under. I think he'll be around 67, 68. I think it'll be higher than last year's percentage of 65.
I want to go over so bad because one of the best things about Joe Burrow is his accuracy. We saw that at LSU and everything like that his senior year. But I'm going to go with the under as well. Well, let me tell you why I would go with the over and why you can make the case for that. You talked about T. Higgins. You talked about how Chase is going to be there, the new receiver. Well, last year, he had a good relationship with his tight ends and running those option routes and everything like that. They're not shots down the field, but they move the sticks. And he had a good relationship with his tight ends that way. You obviously want to return to Joe Mixon out the backfield, another short-handed person on the team. Obviously, Alden Tate is 6'6", so those jump balls are there. But I think that ultimately it's going to be under because they're going to be enamored with the shot play. The shot play with Chase. And if they can't get that timing worked out in training camp and in practice and everything like that.
The only time is in games. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I got to go with the under. Sorry, Joe.
And I still think, and I said this the other day, people thought I was hating, I wasn't. I think Jamar Chase is going to provide a OBJ impact in regards to it changes the dynamic of the offense. Like, you have a number one now, and you have to look for that number one, and you feel the pressure of, oh man, I haven't targeted him in a few plays now. Oh man, he hasn't made a catch yet, and it's going into the second quarter. Oh man, I need to feed him the ball. It changes the dynamic of the offense. But I think once they get that down, I think they'll be fine. I think Baker and OBJ are on their way to getting that down, Pat. But the problem is injuries and inconsistency of being out on the field. Freddie Kitchens was the coach for a while of that stretch. They were just getting going as he goes out with an injury last year, and then Baker's best numbers came post OBJ, but I think that had more to do with just the free-flowing offense of him getting more settled in. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Send us out with this. Quinn, yours, a little Buckeye action.
Oh, young Quinn has already enrolled in the Ohio State University for football team. Over or under 1.5 snaps for him as a Buckeye in the 2021 season.
I'm going to say under because Ryan Day has to find a way to nip this in the bud. They have to redshirt him. You have to redshirt him.
Can't you still play like 4 games before you have to redshirt?
That's a good point. All right. Kudos to you. Touche. So 1.5 snaps, over under 1.5 snaps under center for Ohio State. Okay, I'll take the over. I still feel like if you're going to play him, he needs to be the starter. I don't think he should so my thing is this is, well, it's disrespectful to CJ Stroud and the others who have put in all the time and the effort. Well, if Quinn Ewers is the backup quarterback, that's still disrespectful to Jack Miller and Kyle McCord. It's going to be disrespectful no matter what in the eyes of some. So you might as well make the tough decision and just say, you know what? If he's the guy, we're starting him. Because the only reason, I still believe that if he's good enough to be the backup, Kev, he's good enough to be the starter. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're putting him over Jack Miller and Kyle McCord, if you're saying he's better than those two, then he's good enough to play. He's good enough to play, and I just think that there's so much more riding on his name being there than just, the backup. I think that if he's capable of playing, he should start, even if it means he's slightly less talented than Stroud because of, him supposed to being in high school at the moment. I'll take the over, but that's a very good point. He could still technically play in 4 games and still keep his redshirt status, so that's a good point.
I'm going to go with the over on snaps. I'm expecting Ohio State to get back to what Ohio State does, which is maul teams and blow teams out. So I'm expecting to see all 4 quarterbacks be on the field in a couple of games this season. The whole situation like they had last year with the COVID year, the uncertainty of everything like that, I'm expecting the offense to look and score and the defense to lock people down like they're supposed to. And I'm expecting that a ton of guys are going to play. And I'm expecting he plays all the way up into that red shirt situation. I still think that, one of the 3 guys, CJ Stroud, Jack Miller, or Kyle McCord, are eventually going to be the starter this upcoming season. But I think he's going to get some snaps. I think he's going to play into 3 to 4 games this season before ultimately he's red shirted and everything like that. And my other question for you is, out of those 3 dudes, how many of them bounce? Because somebody's leaving. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3?
Here's based on, without watching practices or but everything you read and everyone you talk to, here's what my perceived depth chart is before Quinn Ewers. Stroud, Jack Miller, McCord. McCord actually very highly rated, coming in higher. He was higher rated than Jack Miller even. But I still feel like the way everyone talks that you talk to at Ohio State, CJ Stroud, Jack Miller, Kyle McCord. McCord, I would almost guarantee is out. Jack Miller, I believe, I'm going to say 1 for sure. Kyle McCord, I think, is out. If I had to put money on one of those guys bouncing, I think it's him. And by the way, he's not a quitter for bouncing. That's just the reality of coming to Ohio State or Alabama or anywhere else. Good quarterbacks are going to leave. And then he'll go somewhere else. Maybe it's within the Big Ten. Maybe it's to the SEC. Maybe it's to Texas or wherever.
Chances are it's going to be in SEC because everybody's in SEC.
Yeah, no kidding. But the bottom line is that someone's going to bounce, but I don't blame them. As far as that goes, I'm not going to do the whole, if they were a true competitor, they'd stick it out. Why? When the writing's on the wall. And that's what I respect about coaches who say, hey, you're super talented, but there's just no opportunity to grow here. So, we're not going to lead you along. The bosses who lead you along are the worst. The coaches who lead you along are the worst.
Right.
The bosses and coaches who lie to you and say, we'll look into getting opportunities for you to start. They're the worst because then you ruin that quarterback's life who sticks around thinking that there's an opportunity there, and then there's no opportunity there. Not every one of those storylines is going to end like Mac Jones at Alabama. So I'm hoping that just like you expect your bosses to be honest with you and say there's no opportunity here to advance or whatever, I would expect coaches to do the same thing. And the coaches that do what some bosses do, where they just tell you what you want to hear versus what the real opportunities are, then they're not good coaches and they're not good bosses. That's just the reality of it. So we'll see how Ryan Day handles this. And there's many different ways they can. But that wraps it up for us, folks. Have a great night. We do got Reds baseball coming up tonight, 6:40 the pregame, 7:10 the first pitch. Nick Castellanos back in the lineup. I'm pretty excited about that, but don't miss any of the action. 6:40 the pregame, 7:10 the first pitch. Reds baseball on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 Wing AM. Kev, you're off tomorrow. You'll be back on Monday.
Yes, sir.
So they're stuck with me tomorrow. So
good luck.
That. All right, until tomorrow, it's in the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, right here on 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program